I know how to do a stream. Hey, look, we're live. Welcome to Cult.Exe. We're a channel here at Plus One EXP. I'm Keegan.Exe, the content necromancer, and a cult leader here at Plus One EXP. Wow, that intro is long if you didn't take a breath first.
Yes, and I am Sarah. I am the high level monk and other cult leader here.
Plus One's a weird little brand that multi-classes in tabletop game design, beard and skincare alchemy, and the Bardic College of Content Creation. The dream and hope here at Plus One's to help amazing designers find great players who love their games, and help amazing players find great designers whose games they can love. And today we're playing Backwater. Everyone else, introduce yourselves.
Hey everybody, I'm Asa, and don't tell Tony, but I have no beard to care for. Pronouns he, him, and I'm one of the creators for Backwater, which I can tell you a bit more about in a second. But this is my co-creator.
Hey everybody, I'm Alex, pronouns also he, him. I do have a beard that I care for. And I also help write Backwater, and that's here to play some games with that. So yeah, excited to be here.
Perfect. Well, tell us about Backwater.
Yes.
Yeah. Backwater is a Southern-Gothic horror tabletop role-playing game. So that's a mouthful too. But Southern-Gothic horror, it's a game that Alex and I created and funded last year, which is 2021. I guess we were creating it even before then, down when I was still in Southern Arkansas at one point in time, and Alex was, I don't know, maybe still up in the Midwest before he moved out east. But we were trying to find a way to stay connected. We met each other through tabletop role-playing games, and we realized that we had common interest in creating a game, and that's how it worked out. This is the first of what we hope will be many role-playing games based on regional American Gothic horror tropes. So an example there, we crowdfunded a second book called Backroads, which is set in St. Louis, and we have a couple other projects on our horizon for spring 2023. So coming up pretty quickly here. We'll be excited to announce those in just a couple of months. All of our games are set in a post-apocalyptic America known as the American Lands, and Backwater in particular is set in New Orleans. And our players will take on the roles of Wardens, who are the official peacekeepers of the American lands with broad jurisdictions, sort of like taking on a marshal role. Yeah, and I think we might jump straight into the game unless there's any other sort of technical matters that you all need to cover.
No, I think we're good to go.
Great. So for today's game, we'll be joining our Wardens, who we'll introduce in just a second here, as they assist Mrs. Isabel Parker, an elderly, eccentric historian who writes on local history and culture in New Orleans. She's working on a project about the historical Pumpernickel family and the family's large abandoned house in the Algiers district, which is going to be torn down soon. The city council has delayed its demolition based on Mrs. Parker's plea so that she can search the house one last time for her research. And our Wardens are going to be there to assist her. So let me set the scene. It's a warm mid-autumn day with an overcast sky. A blustering wind tosses fallen leaves across old world streets and through the iron gates of the Pumpernickel Residence. This old two-story home is one of many dilapidated structures in the area, yet a unique luster still glimmers beneath its surface. One of our Wardens, named Swifty, played by Alex, is standing outside these rusty gates, alone, waiting for two new recruits. Swifty, as you look out at the house, you can tell it was once a sight to behold, as was the large grounds contained within its rusted fence.
So Swifty's got his notebook out, and he's already making his preliminary observations, house, what the gate is like, if a criminal could gain entry if they needed to. And he's also already mentally filling out all of the paperwork that he's going to have to submit. The Wardens are nothing if not bound by paperwork, and Swifty's greatest passion is making sure that paperwork is properly filed. So there's a lot of observation going on. He's looking around. He's checking his pocket watch. Like, I thought, did we say 12? What time is it? Did we say 3? It's okay. They're probably still filling out the recruitment paperwork. Put it in there. Look around. At some point, there's citizens who are asking for directions, probably tourists, and he's very excitedly telling them about the district and its history, because Swifty is huge into the library and interfacing with the public. So he's happy to extol on the charms of the area, even if they're a little dilapidated. And that certainly passes his time until his contact and fellow wardens show up.
Yeah, and why don't you describe Swifty really quickly? What does Swifty look like?
Certainly. So in front of the dilapidated house, you see a pretty young man. He's in his early 20s. His warden uniform is incredibly neat and exact. Every button is polished to a sheen. His kepi cap is at exactly the regulation angle. He is unfortunately clean shaven because that's warden regulation. But all of his clothes, despite being very nice, are just the barest, just the slightest bit threadbare. It looks like maybe this is his only uniform and it's the one that he lives in. His shoes are nice and shined, but they're definitely old. And he's got a bow and arrow on his back, and in his belt, he's got a big old Bowie knife that has been tied off. And that's Swifty.
So Swifty, as you're standing there taking vigorous notes for your paperwork later, your two new recruits walk down the street, Jane and Merlin. Sarah and Keegan, do you want to introduce your characters for us?
Yeah, I want to let Keegan go first, though.
I was gonna be like, yeah, Sarah got it. Yeah, I think we see them. And Sarah, this is a thing we barely discussed before, but feel free to tell me no. But we see the two of them coming down, playing instruments together. We have Merlin playing. I remember what Merlin plays. I'm not looking it up as I talk.
I believe it's a harmonica or a fiddle.
It was a fiddle.
That's right.
Yeah, we have Merlin playing fiddle, and
Jane would be playing a guitar and strumming it rather boisterously.
And I think we're definitely running later than we should have, because I needed to sightsee on the way here.
What does Merlin look like? I'm very curious.
Merlin is older than a new recruit has any real right to be. If you ask Merlin how old he is, he'd be like, "Oh, I'm a hard 40." In actuality, this is an 80-year-old. Obviously from like a family with some money, where Merlin has some money of his own. So like perfectly pressed uniform, immaculately coiffed hair.
This is delightful. Because I feel like Jane, in comparison, is it's comical. Like, we look like a street act, like just the two of us walking down. Jane is in her early 20s. She is dressed in her warden uniform, but it looks like she climbed out of like the swamp a little bit in it. Like, it is not well kept. Her hair is like kind of brushed behind her ears. There's a smudge of dirt certainly on her face. She's in big old leather boots that are strapped up to mid-calf. She has like a short bow strapped on her back and a hatchet on this side of her hip, just like broad daylight, doesn't care. And this guitar that looks like it's been put through a wood chipper, glued back together, and then smashed on a stage. But it's clear, like, she just kind of exudes this very bright energy. So even though she is a little bit rough around the edges as she's standing next to this very well-kempt elderly gentleman, she still kind of has like that pep in her step, that kind of spark in her eye.
And the two of you walk up to the very orderly, neat, well-ironed Swifty.
Swifty is going to assume that this is a minstrel act of some kind that's just like passing through. Like, sometimes people dress up like wardens, and he just like kind of gives you a like, "Hey guys," salute, and goes back to writing in his notebook, clearly looking for someone else.
Jane's gonna like keep playing, but as you wave, she's gonna like do like a da-da-da-da-da-da, like on her guitar, like a really like big flourish. and then kind of to the street. Thank you. I'm gonna be here until they send me home.
Swifty's gonna toss you a coin.
Oh, heck yeah, I'm gonna take it. She's gonna, like, if it rolls like into any kind of gutter, she is down, like, getting it. She's out. Now I have 20 of these. Thank you. Even number. That is a fact. I now have 20.
Nice.
Hello. We here for we were sent by someone at the office to help the ghosts. I think I heard. I'm Jane. She'll put her hand out to Swifty.
Oh, so you see the wheels turning in Swifty's head. Like, literally, the gears are grinding, and he's like, "Ghosts office? Oh, these are the people I'm supposed to meet. Excellent." And he shakes your hand, and he gives you a very warm, like, welcome. Very excited to have you. Did they give you your official warden handkerchief?
I think I got it somewhere around in here. She's gonna just be kind of reaching around.
Swifty pulls out his own and is like, "Just a second, you have a little and he hands you his handkerchief.
Oh, thank you. She's just gonna pocket it. I couldn't find mine.
Swifty writes down that he needs to requisition a new handkerchief.
Sorry, I'm taking up all the limelight. I don't know what my problem is. This here is Merlin. Merlin.
Nice to meet you, young man.
Warden Merlin, a pleasure. Looking very, very official. And Swifty makes a note for a merit. Love an individual that has a nice, clean pressed uniform. Looks over and is like, "We'll work on that. It's not a problem."
She is 100% like rubbing her nose on her sleeve, just like a big old sniff. So what seems to be the problem? We just escorting someone through the premises?
Yes. One of our most esteemed local historians, Miss name I have forgotten, but is definitely in my notes somewhere.
Oh, it's Miss Isabella Parker. I remember that. I got one of those brains. I'm not so good at the written word. But those names and faces, I just keep them up here like you wouldn't believe.
That's
like
why you remembered where we came from.
Right.
The office.
The office. Yeah, she's one of our most eminent local historians, and she is doing some research, and this house might be haunted. I think that's hogwash. But it's an easy task for us, I think. She's a person of local import. And when they need the best, they send for me and my friends.
When they need
who you
the best,
are now.
They get new recruits. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they gotta have somebody show us all the ropes, know what we need to do. And she's gonna hike her pants up because they're falling down a little bit.
Gonna get you my tailor. I can't afford him, but he works on commission, and sometimes I do him favors.
Like. How much would he cost? I gotta be honest with you. I just got geared up and everything here's so expensive.
You're telling me.
I did get that extra coin, so that's pretty good.
I mean, I think getting you tailored, that's like killing 4 giant rats in his basement. They creep in sometimes. And that's usually what I do.
Okay, all right, yeah. I mean,
you
that's
might do some free advertising. You seem like you've got a good singing voice, some strumming talent.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I really do. But yeah, I'm excited to get going here. And she'll cough a little bit off to the side. Like she's a very slender build. Again, I feel like she looks ridiculous in her little uniform. That's probably too big and too dirty.
So as you all are sitting here talking in the comfortable afternoon heat, an elderly woman canes her way down the middle of the street, about maybe the same age as Merlin, and caning her way down. Yeah, a really hard 40. And she's caning down the middle of the street because there are no sidewalks here. She wears a large floppy sun hat that shields her face and carries this tremendous pack, which is just stuffed to the gills and looks ridiculous on her overly hunched body. And she like walks straight up to you, looking down at the ground. And when she finally stands before you, she's so short and hunched that she has to crane her face upwards to see you all. And she looks up at you and says, Are you the Wardens?
Swifty rips off a salute and then gets like crouches down until he is at her level. Is like, yes, ma'am. Warden Gideon Swift and associates.
And she pulls out a piece or like a little notepad and a pencil, and she's clearly writing down your name. And she's, I'm Isabel Parker. What are your names?
Oh, my name is Jane McCava. It's nice to meet you. And she'll just stick an energetic hand out for a handshake.
Sanders.
And she like tucks the pencil behind her ear in order to shake your hand. And what did you say your name was?
Oh, of course, Sanders.
Oh, Sanders. Oh, nice to meet you, Sanders. As I said, I'm just writing down your names here. When I publish my book, I want to make sure that I can give you some credit.
Oh, you don't need to be doing that. We're just here to, help. But all the credit belongs to you, certainly, for all the fine writing you're about to do with all the fancy letters. I mean, look at your handwriting's beautiful. I can't even make any of it out. It's just too beautiful.
That's the sign of good handwriting. And she takes her notepad and pencil and packs it back into her ridiculous pack. And she says, well, thank you all for coming. And I just really appreciate it. I can't get around the house well, especially the stairs. So it's just so nice of you all to, give me a hand here, help me look around. And also, there's rumors of squatters and there's criminal activity in this neighborhood. So it's just nice to have a little bit of, assistance.
Well, where would you like to begin?
Oh, well, I think we begin by going inside, unless any of you have any questions. Otherwise, I've got this key here, and she pulls out this keychain, and there's like 50 keys on there, and she starts sorting through a key, which appears to be for the rusty front gate.
Oh, golly, that's a lot of keys. That's more keys than I've ever seen in my entire life.
Oh, yes, well, some of them are mine. I can't remember where I got all of them, but let me see. Oh, here we go. And she holds up a key, and it has a big P on it for Pumpernickel. And she walks up to the gate, and she's about to put it in, and she says, have you all heard about the Pumpernickels? And she's trying to put it into the keyhole and sort of missing as she asks you that question.
Any relation to Aloysius?
Oh yes, Aloysius, that rake of a man. Oh yes, he is the nephew, but the estranged nephew of this family. I guess great nephew, you might say. And then she finally gets
He's not that great.
She finally gets the key into the lock, and before she can even turn it, the gate just swings open. Apparently, it was already unlocked.
Amazing.
Perfect. We'll follow too.
So she starts to lead you down the path, and she says, well, the Pumpernickel family who used to live in this house, and she starts going on like a typical historian. This is her subject of expertise, so she could ramble for hours about it.
I'm feeling really attacked right now.
The Pumpernickels lived, dating back to the days of the consolidation. There was James Pumpernickel the First. He was one of the earliest city councilors of the New Orleans City Council, and there's his grandson, James Pumpernickel the Third. He was the last owner of this house, one of the advocates for New Orleans to become an independent city almost 70 years ago. And believe it or not, the Pumpernickels used to be the gravitational center of local politics. It's hard to believe that the council will be tearing it down tomorrow, but at least we can do our part to preserve history. And who knows? She turns around and looks at you, puts her hand on your shoulders. Maybe we'll find the family fortune too. And then she winks conspiratorially at you and walks towards the front doors.
Jane just has like her eyes are the size, like she was absolutely kind of like starting to yawn and like get a little distracted, but the family fortune, her eyes are the size of like dinner plates. So she's just like, what the fuck was that?
I think I lean in towards Jane and I'm like, do you think the family fortune is the ghosts or is it something else?
I don't even know. I mean, with a house this big with that many keys, it could be anything.
Maybe the family fortune's keys.
Could unlock a lot of doors.
I'm
She
going to
walks
stop
up.
Miss Parker before she opens the door and cite that warden regulation is to secure the perimeter of any location before we go inside.
No.
So I'm just gonna, if any of my recruit friends want to learn how to properly isolate a perimeter, I'd be happy to show you how. But Swifty's got his bow and arrow out, and he's like dropped into warden combat stance and is like getting ready to circle the perimeter.
I think Jane does one of those, right, and like crouches down too, and is kind of like mimicking what Swifty is doing.
We see
Stealth
Merlin
mode,
attempt
activate.
the warden stance, and then like not on these knees, not on these knees at all. Stand up a little straighter, and then just, I'm not really hiding from anyone. It should be fine.
So then, yeah, we'll circle the perimeter and make sure that they're, checking for exits, other exits apart from the front door, looking at the condition of the windows, that sort of thing. Making sure there aren't giant rats to ambush us.
So the path that you all walked up to the building was this cracked cobblestone driveway. And again, it leads up to this 2-story house. And on either side of the driveway and surrounding the house is just this tall, overgrown grass, like maybe 2 feet tall. And as you all walk around the house, you sort of have to part the grass and get around to the back side of the building. As you're sort of looking at the building, you can see that there are a number of windows in this house, but many of them have been broken or boarded up over time. At the back of the house, there is a rear door that heads into the house. And looking out at the backyard, you can sort of see 2 sections of this very large estate: an ancient cemetery and crypt, as well as a old well made of stone.
Now, how do we secure the well?
We look down it and make sure there's nothing in it.
Got you.
Swifty says, making that up completely.
I pull out an electric torch because I have one and I might as well pull it out and peer into the well.
Yeah, Merlin walks up to the well and turns on their electric torch and looks down. And about 30 feet down is the water's surface. And there does seem to be a little bit of debris down there. But there is, but nobody is, you don't see anybody or any monsters or any rats or anything like that down in the well.
Just trash. I think we should be good.
I like to think that there's a shot of all of our faces, like looking over the well, and we're just like, yep, no monsters there.
Yes, 100%.
And the trash down there is looks like an old canvas sack or something like that. Yeah. So do you want to head back to the front of the house?
Yeah, but I think I'm going to linger a little bit and look at that canvas sack at the bottom of the well, because I was told that maybe we would find a fortune, and a canvas sack in the bottom of a well seems like a pretty good hiding place to Jane. I feel like she's maybe going to you go on. I'll just be a minute. I have the survivor's kit, and as part of that, I have fishing gear. Can I try to fish this bag out of this well?
Oh my gosh.
I know this
Yes,
is not
thank
the
you.
adventure, but like this is what I want.
We're gonna run into
No,
adventure
you
with Sarah
definitely can do
immediately.
that.
What if I go fishing?
But what if I use every single item that I have?
All right. So in order to get it out, let's see. Give me a type. I would probably say like a survive roll for fishing. Do you
Okay.
have survive? Do you want to
I
use that, or do you
do.
have another skill? Okay.
Yeah, I have survive and I have 1 point bought into it, so I'm at a 0. Let's see. That is a 14.
I think you muted
Oh, I think you're
yourself.
muted.
That was to build up tension. No,
Oh, shit.
Effective.
you lower your hook down into the well, and you are able to attach it to the canvas sack and pull it back on up. And there actually is something inside this canvas sack, and it's just completely drenched. And as you pull it open, there appears to be some medical supplies inside, which is pretty strange, but maybe some medical tools, even some old pills like waterlogged smelling salts, those sorts
Okay.
of things.
Uh, boy, howdy, what a haul. I am gonna absolutely start adding like some of this stuff into my survivor's kit to keep the smelling salts. I'm like, we just maybe need to shake them out a bit. They'll be all right. And she'll just quickly follow everybody back into the house. She will be wet though, as she's just putting all this wet stuff like directly into her bag. It's now dripping down her leg.
So at the front of the house, you meet Mrs. Isabel Parker again, who's standing at that front door. And when you left her, she was flipping through that keychain, and she's still flipping through that keychain until she finds another key. In fact, it might have been the same key that she started with that has the letter P on it. And she inserts it into the lock of the 2 front doors and looks back at you and says, "Oh, are you already back? Are you ready?"
I do believe so.
Turns the key, you hear the lock unclick, and she opens these 2 wooden double doors to the Pumpernickel foyer. The foyer has a high ceiling, and part of the 2nd floor hallway overlooks it. So it's this large entry area. Old plaster from the ceiling is scattered across a mildewed tile floor. Some old ceiling tiles have collapsed and shattered down there. Wood paneling covers the 1st floor wall, and a stairway rises to the 2nd floor where the yellowed wallpaper is peeling away. A large and crooked portrait hangs on the foyer wall. However, it's covered with a white sheet. And then there is a door to the north and also a door to the east in this room. And of course, a stairwell going up. And voila, Mrs. Parker says, closing the door behind you and locking it. "Isn't this just marvelous? Don't you love history?"
Yeah.
I mean, it's something mighty fancy. What's up? Why they got so many although coverings on the paintings and whatnot?
Oh, I think just to preserve them. And I'm personally, as a historian, I'm rather grateful that they took some measures when they closed up this house.
Will they be moving them out when they tear the house down?
Oh, well, we will, it's up to us. You all will help me haul some stuff out of here, but we take what is most valuable and what we can pick up before tomorrow when they demolish the place.
Is there a particular reason we're locked in?
Oh, I just thought it'd be for our own safety. Do you want me to leave it unlocked?
We did secure the perimeter, so I think leaving the door unlocked does make sense.
Okay, excellent. And she walks back and she unlocks it. She said, "I'm just a little worried. They've said things about, people sneaking into this estate and stuff, so I just thought I'd cover our backs.
Oh, you don't have to worry about them, ma'am. And I'm gonna pull out my little hatchet off my belt loop, and kind of hold it up for a second. If anybody comes in here wanting to fight, they'll find one real quick.
And she adjusts her glasses and gets really close to the hatchet and to see what it is. And oh, well, that makes me feel much safer. Thank you.
Jane accidentally drops it and then picks it up again.
Oh, I forgot. He's been so quiet. I have a pet hawk. I forgot about.
Oh. My goodness!
I feel like it like flies through the door or something.
It
Like
just
as
comes through an
like
open window. Oh, there he is.
Oh, did that come out of your beard? Wait, does Merlin have a beard?
Now he does for sure.
Okay. My goodness, what a sweet little thing.
He did not come out of my beard.
Okay. Oh, well, it's what is this thing? Is this this is a little hawk, huh?
Yeah, his name's Tony.
Tony, what a great name.
It's fine. It's a fine name. He came to me with this name, you see.
Oh.
Jane's gonna lean over to Swifty and go, I think he must come from some kind of very interesting family to have such strange names. A hawk named Tony? This is just the hottest thing.
Swifty, who is big into family genealogical research, is like,
yeah,
Tony is not a name you see except from the way back times. Not a normal name like Malachi or Hieronymus. Like, those are good American names. Tony? It's weird.
I ain't never heard nothing like that before.
Nope.
Miss Parker, is there an area in the house that you would suggest that we begin? Perhaps a treasury or a vault of some kind.
Could you direct us to the piles of money, please?
End of story.
They were not in the well. I checked.
Thanks for coming in. She says, well, I thought we could just get our bearings here. And then I thought, like I said, the stairs are a little tough on me. So maybe two of you could head up the stairs and one of you could come with me, help me out too, in case there's anything I need to reach. Is that something that you all will be okay with?
Yeah, I'll stay with you. I think they look more like the stair folks than me.
Well, all right.
Oh, are you also a hard 40?
I'm a very hard 40, yeah. I've
definitely
lived a
were
lot
born
of
in the
years in
same
these
day.
40 years.
Yeah.
You just pack in a lot of experience, man.
So as you all talk about splitting up, you see Mrs. Parker like pull off her massive backpack and put it to the ground, and she's like pulling out, her notebook and her pencil again, but also pulls out a couple of candles for light sources, but they have these little carriers so they don't drip wax anywhere. And she starts to tell you a little bit about the sort of things that she is looking for. And she mentions that, yes, there is a family fortune, which would be great if you all could find it. But there are also plenty of other things in this house which have another type of worth, intellectual worth, she says. And in particular, for my book, I am looking for, notebooks, diaries, account books, real good historical materials that will help me complete my writing about the Pumpernickel family.
I feel like when you say that she's looking for things of the wealth, like, I feel like Jane is like nodding. And then when you go to intellectual, Swifty like starts nodding like yes, and then there's just this deep frown.
It's like the opposite. Like she wrinkles her nose where it's like what was like financial records. She just kind of like
Swifty's just like,
No.
yeah, financial records _ twice.
And as she's preparing you all for things that she's looking for, and of course, she also wants you to make sure that, the house itself is secure. But she walks up to that painting, which had a sheet over it, and she rips it off, and all this dust goes flying everywhere. And as she reveals the painting, you can see that there are 2 people in this painting. There is a handsome man with dark brown hair and a woman with blonde curls, and they're sitting beside one another with a hand on each other's knee, and their hands proudly display wedding rings. And the woman's ring has a rather large stone in it. And Mrs. Isabel Parker says, "Now, I'd really love information on the Pumpernickel family themselves. This is James Pumpernickel III and June Pumpernickel, his wife. She was of the Taft lineage, which is neither here nor there, but yes, 2 good families, a true political power couple here in New Orleans until their deaths, which I'm sure you've heard of."
I've not heard of it.
Oh.
Was it something very tragic?
And could it be brief?
Tragic, yes. Freak accident is another name for it. June, it seems, fell down the well, which you might have seen out back. And then James and the children, well, they were poisoned. And then she begins to walk through the door to the north.
Wait, hold on. Poisoned?
Yeah, I think I stop and turn and look at Swifty like, are you shitting me right now? Like,
right. I'm like, finger up, like, wait, hold on a minute, ma'am. Can you? When I say brief, I mean that seems important.
And she just heads into the room to the north. She's just sort of booking it, doesn't care whether or not you're all following her.
I guess I'll follow.
Yeah, Merlin, you want to get the lowdown on that?
Yeah,
and then we'll check upstairs.
I'll definitely ask more questions.
So we'll start with Merlin, and then we'll split up with the 2 of you. So Merlin, you walk into what appears to be this old sitting room. It's also succumbed to dust over the years. Just by opening the door, Mrs. Parker sends a cloud of dust swirling into the air. And even so, a thick layer coats of various items of furniture spread across the room, all of which are beneath yellowed sheets. 2 portraits rest on the southern wall. One hangs loosely from a hook. The other leans against the wall on the floor, and both are also covered in sheets. And then there are 3 doors in this room, which I can describe to you later once, Mrs. Parker has you lead the way here. But she walks straight up to the pictures and doesn't even seem to notice that she lost 2 of you. And she rips the sheets off the other 2 portraits here. And the one on the wall depicts a girl who has flowing dark blonde curls and is wearing an athletic dress, holding a wooden tennis racket in her hand. And the portrait is labeled Elizabeth Pumpernickel. And the portrait sitting on the floor depicts a girl with a flower in her dark brown hair, which is pulled back into a bun. And she has a birthmark on her face, the left cheek, and it sticks out on her pale skin. She's wearing spectacles and has books in her arms, which she hugs against her chest. And the painting is labeled Yolanda Pumpernickel. So she says, "These are the daughters, Yolanda and Elizabeth Pumpernickel. You wouldn't believe it by looking at them, but one of them was adopted."
Elizabeth.
It was Elizabeth.
Sure.
Yes. Oh, you knew.
It's
Age.
very obvious.
Age is the great teacher.
It is.
That's what I always say. She was Yolanda's best friend and the daughter of the Pumpernickel governess who had passed long before they had. And there are old letters by June and James which speak of how talented, graceful, and absolutely beloved that Elizabeth was. Yolanda, she was the quiet one, but she had her father's brains, and it's a shame what happened to both of them. Such promise. Not long after their mother's death, the family sat down to tea. The official report was that someone mixed up the arsenic and the sugar.
And
Law enforcement had found the packages next to one another in the cellar.
it's a
The whole family
classic
died.
mistake. It's a classic mistake.
Classic.
It's happened to more families than I can count.
Yes. I'm sure has it happened with your family, Merlin?
It didn't not happen with my family.
Oh. Whoa. Yes. Not surprised. I used to be surprised every time I heard arsenic, sugar, mistake, but
Just a
nowadays.
very classic mistake, and everyone always thinks there's more to it than there is.
No,
Never
yes,
is.
exactly.
Not once.
Never is. Oh,
If only
And I'm
the
sure
government
that's
had
the
passed
case
that
here, she
legislation, that means you have to, like, there's just a label problem. That's all it is.
Yeah, it's
And
fully
no
a
one
legal
will
problem.
legislate it properly.
It's like there was legislation where it was like not arsenic, but the stamp never like places itself quite right. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of like a smudge and arsenic. So it gets really confusing.
That arsenic brand sugar was just such a choice.
yeah.
The good old arsenic family and their sugar plant.
That's a new thing. I'm telling you, that's not canon. Yeah. So that's what she shows to you and finishes describing, and she says to you, she points to the room, and there's like some old furniture scattered around, and she points up to each of the doors. Let me just pull those up here.
Mhm.
And like I said, there is a door to the east, and she said, I think if my memory serves me right, it's been a while since I've been in here, and I think the east is the kitchen, and the north is a hallway. It runs east to west, connecting, I can't remember which rooms, but I know one goes to the kitchen, I think maybe a nursery, and then she points behind you, and she says, of course, that heads back to the foyer, so... where would you like to start?
We should probably head towards the kitchen. Just make sure the arsenic and sugar aren't too close to each other again.
Yes, that's a very good idea. And she begins to lead you up to the door that heads directly to the kitchen.
Cool.
And I'm going to
Cut
switch
back to
over
them.
to, Swifty and Jane. And Swifty and Jane, you all head up you're about to head up the stairwell. Would you like to go up there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So as you walk up the stairs, they creak and groan from years of rot and decay until you reach a landing at the very top of the stairs, which overlooks the foyer. And at the top of the stairs is a tall table. And tipped over on the surface of this table is this old chipped bust of a woman. And there's a hallway up here which spreads east and west from the landing. And there are 3 doors on the north side of the hallway and 2 doors on the south side of the hallway.
I want to look at the bust a little bit closer. Just kind of walk over and move some of the pieces around. Does it look like June?
It does not look like June. If anything, it bears a bit more of a resemblance to James.
Okay.
Pumpernickel, the husband. And on the bottom of the bust is the woman's name. It says Julia Pumpernickel.
Does that name ring any bells?
If any of you has lore history, you could make a roll in that, or you could, if you have a history book, you can make a research roll in it.
I do have a history book, which I recognize seems silly. But if Shirley, if Swifty looks like he's trying to like put it together, like, like muttering about names and stuff, I got a book with all kinds of names in it, and she's gonna pull her history book out, the history of American lands, and say, this book right here, my grandpa gave it to me. He said, Jane, if you don't learn to read, you're not going to learn to know nothing. And so now I have it and I carry it around with me. And every once in a while, I actually do learn something from it. Did you know there was a sugar plant named arsenic? Who thought of this? It was a bad idea. I keep some of it, and I'm going to reach in and pull out my little poison vial out of my survivor's kit and just like shake it around a little bit and like, But I did learn to keep some on me just in case. She'll tuck it back away.
Swifty is processing all of that and is like, your grandpa seems awesome. Reading is great. Arsenic and sugar bad. Maybe don't play with arsenic. But yes,
Okay.
let's have a look at the book.
Yeah. So I would like to use my History of the American Lands to try and figure out if we can find Julia Pumpernickel.
So it's a research roll.
Okay. I'm not good at research, so this will be a -1.
Nothing about your character gave me the vibe that you weren't going to be good at research.
Yeah, I got a 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
You flip through the pictures and none of them look
Yeah.
like they're catchy.
There's 100. Like no, that doesn't. I'll like stop at a couple pictures. That don't look nothing like her. I'll just keep swiping. Nope, sorry, nothing in here.
It's just a lot of pictures of old white dudes with sideburns. And
100%.
just like, nope, none of these look like her.
No, no. Nice mustache on this one though. Will you take a look at that? How long do you think it took him to grow that?
Well, judging by my own mustache growing ability, like 10
Probably his
years.
whole life.
Right.
I'll be. Well, and she'll snap the book closed and stuff it back into her bag that is still dripping a little bit from her treasures. Where do you want to start? We got 3 doors here. 2 doors. Do you want to start 3 doors down or?
Well, the Warden manual always says left is right, so
Oh.
I'm
It
content
does?
to. Yeah,
I'll-
I pull out the only book on Swifty's possession, which is his Warden's manual, and he flips through. He's like, "Yeah, see, chapter 4, right there.
Oh.
Left is right."
Would you look at that? Well, all right. Lead on.
I will.
So
I
you head
do
over
have
to-
like my hand on my knife, and I've untied it so I can remove it quickly if necessary.
So you head to the left here, which would be to the west, and there is 1 door on the north side and 1 door on the south side.
So south is left.
Now it is left, yes. I guess you headed left, and now it's on your left. So
Yeah. So Swifty is going to put his hand on the handle of the door, look back at Jane to make sure that you're ready. And I'm thinking back to a previous adventure, is just going to mutter to himself, "Please don't be creepy dolls. Please don't be creepy dolls. Please don't be creepy dolls." And then he opens the door.
Creepy doll.
F.
5
a
of them.
giant creepy doll.
Tea
attacks.
party of creepy dolls.
And you open this door, and this is just an oversized closet. It's a linen closet with tons of old sheets folded up, covered in dust, and a little discolored.
I mean, we are looking for valuable things, so I'm just going to start pulling stuff off the shelf.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta climb up on those shelves. My cousin Lynn, she tucks all kinds of things up in the top corner. So just make sure you really get up in there.
That's a good idea, but Swifty is not very coordinated. Like, do you need a boost? I
I can try.
So
We're gonna
Like-
ransack the shit out of this closet.
100%. Leave no corner fumbled.
So you're just like whipping out all these sheets, and then you
Yep.
jump up onto as Swifty gives you a boost, and you get up to the top shelf, and there's just some folded sheets up there. But you also notice that there's something lining each of these shelves, and it's ancient newspaper. And you can read a little bit of headline on it, even though it's starting to crumble. And oh, sorry.
No, I shoot it. There looks like there's some news papers up here. Some headlines, looks like.
Swifty's eyes get very big because the old newspaper section is one of his favorite parts of the library. So he's like, yes.
So as you go to grab the newspaper, from the sheets that are piled on top of it, all of a sudden something or things begin to rush out at you from beneath the sheets. Make me a resolve roll.
Ooh.
Both of us?
For now, just Jane.
Okay, that was a 5. My resolve is 12.
Yeah. So you are not scared as over a dozen cockroaches just scurry out from beneath the sheet, and they climb onto your hands, and you sort of calmly sit as they crawl down. And Swifty, make me a reflex roll here to see if you can continue holding Jane up as they crawl on you.
Okay. I think Jane even calls out, uh-oh, looks like we got some trash bugs here coming for you.
Oh, good. Swifty loves bugs.
It can smell fear. And taste
good.
It.
I got a +3 in reflex, so this should be okay. Nope, that's an 8.
Oh, no.
You're trying to hold it together, but what really gets you is when your regulation perfectly ironed and folded clothes, when the cockroaches slip in the collar and you can just feel them soiling your clothes, and you drop Jane, and the two of you collapse to the ground. And I forgot we're playing a tabletop game and I might need dice. So, as you fall to the ground, both of you only take 1 damage. So you can subtract that from your current health points here. And as you're on the ground, the newspaper clipping, which you were about to place your hand on, Jane, falls to the ground and lands on top of you. And it says, New Orleans on the verge of independence, banks on the verge of collapse.
How old is this?
You do see that there's a little date at the top of the newspaper. It's a little smudged here, but you guess it's about 70 years ago, 75.
Well, this might be something that Miss Parker might be interested in.
Yeah, it's old and got words on it.
Just like her.
She kind of grins a little bit. You didn't get startled by those little trash bugs now, did you?
Swifty always strives for honesty, so he's like kind of biting it down, being like, yes, I don't like bugs.
Oh, that's all right. Everybody's got a thing. I don't like heights myself. She stands up and brushes off her legs.
Well, if I had known, I would have volunteered. I'm sorry.
It's all right. It's all right. We can't be a warden if not be a little bit brave is all, you know.
Swifty smashes a hand into his chest and is like, yep.
Poor Swifty.
I'm going to flip back to Merlin now. And Merlin, you and Mrs. Parker head over to the eastern door, which is the kitchen. And this door is unlocked, and it swings open to a well-ventilated kitchen with nearly half a dozen windows, all of which have cracked or shattered over time. Nature has started to invade this room, and the peculiar vines rope around the pipe of an old potbelly stove in one corner. Cupboards fill the walls. They are all either open or missing their doors. And for whatever reason, any dishes and food within them are long gone. The lone exception is a small cabinet above the wash basin, the door of which is closed and just barely out of reach. And this kitchen has 4 doors in it. One goes outside, which you actually saw when you're outside. That's a back door. There's one that heads back to the room you're just in. One which heads back to the hallway, as Mrs. Parker mentioned. And the other one is a different type of door. It's a trap door, which presumably leads to the cellar.
Cool. So you said the cabinet's like just out of reach?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna grab Tony, hold him by his 2 wings. Tony, look me in the eyes. I need you to open this cabinet. Do you understand me? And I feel like I see a glimpse of recognition on his face, and I just sort of
Release me.
So this is a real thing in the game, by the way. You can tell animals to do something. You'll see if they do it. So they just make a deduce roll, and every animal has a deduce stat, and some are better at it than others. And Tony's deduce stat is 0. So
Okay,
but
yeah, that feels
it
right.
could work.
That feels right. I feel like I'm treating Tony like it's a 0. So I'm gonna roll a d20 and add nothing to it. That's still a 16. That's a good roll.
Oh, okay. That's good. I'm glad because I accidentally rolled for Tony, and you would not have liked my roll.
No.
And, Tony takes off and actually opens the cupboard for you. And Mrs. Parker says, "Wow, isn't that something? I was going to offer to give you a boost."
Oh no, you're a hard 40. You don't need to be boosting me. This is what Tony's here for. Takes care of small tasks like this.
I'm so glad you brought along that pigeon.
He's a very powerful pigeon. I'm just not going to correct it. It's fine.
And the cabinet door opens, and inside the cabinet is an old tea set made of fine porcelain with extravagant decoration. Looming above 6 little teacups is a large teapot.
Cool. I'll point at it for her. Be like, now, does that look like it's valuable? Because I think Tony might be able to grab that and bring it down.
Oh, that looks extremely valuable. It's a great idea to have your pigeon collected for me. Thank you.
And I hold Tony again. You listened last time. We can do this again. We're gonna let Tony try. No one's here to stop me in this old woman.
Yeah. And she's just totally buying it. She's like, "That's one well-trained pigeon."
There's like the image of like 2 elderly people, and it's just an old man like trying to huck this hawk like up at like cabinets. Like if we just had like a camera like panning across the windows on this scene, I think it would be the best thing I've ever seen.
I did roll an 18 this time.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna need to roll for something important later, and I'm gonna roll like a 3. I feel like coming.
Yeah, exactly. That's too funny. Oh my gosh, I'm dying here. So Tony flaps his wings, lands in the cupboard, and grabs onto the teapot with one
drop it
hand.
down here for me.
He flaps out and he drops it to you.
Perfect.
And yeah, he successfully does so. And then he picks up a bunch of cups all at once and he flies them over above you. And you
I'll hold my shirt out.
Okay. Otherwise, it was going to be a reflex roll. And he drops them, and you catch them in your shirt.
Oh no!
Yeah, you don't need a reflex roll.
I was like, I'll make a reflex roll. Don't stop me.
Don't tempt Keegan with a good time.
Yeah, and you catch them all too, and then the saucers, and you catch the saucers as well. And Mrs. Parker is just flabbergasted. Where did you get this pigeon?
Well, you know, I've lived a hard 40, and you sometimes find things like powerful pigeons during your
Wow.
I'm sure you've met a powerful animal companion in your time. This is nothing new.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yes, I'll never forget when I was little, this little calf I had, just the smartest little thing I've ever seen. I just used to, that little guy who was always sneaking out of fences is totally comparable to your pigeon. And she collects all of the teapots and she opens up her large bag, which is already overstuffed, and she just sort of shoves them in there.
Careful,
like
careful.
Oh, wow.
They're delicate. They're very old.
And murder weapons.
And she says, "Oh, do you think these was the tea set? Do you think that they drank arsenic sugar out of in tea?"
You know, there's probably only one real way to find out.
Tony. No
Make some
does
tea. Put some tea on, will you?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have to get it tested later. That's obviously what I meant.
Oh yes, of course. I totally misunderstood. And she says,
Well, it seems like we got what we came here for, so we're probably good to leave now, right?
"Just head home." Yes. Oh wait. And she points down at the cellar, and she says, "Do you think? I don't even. I'd say we should send Tony, but down the cellar. But I don't know how helpful that will be."
Yeah. So the thing is, Tony understands when I speak to him, but then Tony comes back and he squawks at me, and I have no fucking idea what he's trying to tell me. Now, don't tell him that. He doesn't know.
You have a great friendship. It's really something special.
Thank you. I wonder how our companions are doing.
Okay. And so we'll flip back to the
we cut to it's like Jane running down the hall like, oh, I got it. She just is like smashing these cockroaches before they can escape any further. Just loud stomping sounds.
Swifty is writing commendations for thoroughness.
All right, I think that's the last of them. We got a couple more doors. Do we want to just move real quick, fast like a little jackrabbit through these?
It's a good plan. Yep.
All
We all
right.
don't have the eyes of Detective Tony Hawk, so our true
That's true.
commanding officer.
I have seen that bird do some incredible things. I honestly think Tony's the one that taught Merlin how to play that fiddle. If I'm being real honest with you right now.
So jealous. Okay, so let's wrap up things on the west side.
Yeah, we've got the northwest door.
Yeah. And who wants to try the door?
I'll try the door. And I don't think I'm being particularly cautious about it. Like, all we saw was a couple little trash bugs.
And you try the handle, and it's locked.
Ah, crud. She's got that whole thing of key rings with a bajillion keys on it.
Can I put the boot in? Does this door swing in? Like if I just...
Yeah.
I'm going to do that.
So you'd make a stunt roll to take it down.
That is a 16.
And you just bust that door down, Swifty.
It's
Jane watches
Swifty...
this? Yeah,
No,
go for it. You go for it.
I was just gonna say, Swifty has taken a lot of the Warden breaking and entering courses. Like there are all kinds of seminars he's been to that's like, here's how you get through this type of door. Here's how you get through this type of door. And Swifty has gotten perfect marks in all of them.
I feel like I'll just run down and grab the key, and just as you like square off and like burst in that door, and Jane's just gonna kind of look down, like see like the run up that you got, which I imagine was not much. And she's gonna come stand in the door. Swifty, I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but I did not expect that from you.
One of the rules of the Wardens is to have unexpected talents. Never let them see everything that you know.
That's a rule?
Yeah. So you got to come up with one if you don't have it.
Ah, shit.
Darn it.
Dang it. I can hold my breath for a real long time. Do you think that'd count? Oh, but I told you, so it's not a secret. Damn it.
No. We can know. It's just they can't know.
What's in this room?
Yeah, what is in this room?
There's a monster, and it's just waiting for you to finish having this conversation.
Right, we're just having this friendly chat. We're like, excuse me, Mr. Cyclops.
We're growing together as a team.
This is very Scooby-Doo of us.
Establishing common ground.
Right.
With a hawk named Scooby.
I was like, wait, no, there's 4 of us and a hawk. Oh shit, no, this really is just Scooby-Doo.
Can't wait for the old lady to lose her glasses and she won't be able to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, I gotta write that in there.
My glasses.
I could listen to a whole adventure of Swifty and Jane talking and Merlin and Tony talking. Just that's what I need.
I'm a fan. I like it.
Ooh.
Old striped wallpaper covers the walls of this room, now peeling. At its center are two chairs, a divan or couch, an end table. And on the eastern wall is this large closet filled with women's clothing. On the southern wall, beside the door to the hallway, is a vanity with a large circular mirror. The table has hair and makeup brushes on it, a stump of a candle, an open jewelry box, and a picture of June and June Pumpernickel, the mistress of the house, and a young girl whom you haven't seen a picture of yet, but she has blonde curls.
So Swifty is interested in the wardrobe because he often has to mend his own uniform, and I imagine that some of these dresses have nice fabrics and things on them that I might be able to repurpose. So I'm going to go look at those, mind slightly off task for a moment.
Yeah, and you see just lots and lots of women's clothing on their dresses, pants, everything. What do you want to do with these clothes? Do you want to assess them for their worth or for their value or anything like that? Do you want
it more
to
for the quality
for
of the fabric, quality of the make? And I'm going to pull down one that has a sort of is the closest color to the warden uniform. And I'm going to turn to Jane and be like, what do you think?
Jane is just rifling through this vanity like a raccoon that's got into a kitchen. She's just drawers out. I don't even know. What is this? She's got found a lipstick that she's opened and she drops it on the carpet. And she'll turn around. She goes, oh, that looks real nice. It really brings out your eyes. What kind of country wouldn't going to be wearing that too?
Oh, I just keep things like this in case I need to repair my uniform. But the fabric does feel nice, and I will make an assess roll on it.
Yeah, yep.
All right. Well, there's a 14 on the dice, but I don't think my assess is that good. My assess is 0, so I got a 14.
Y'all are rolling good. Yeah, you look at it, and this is actually some dress of some worth. This is fine fabric. It's old and it's aged. But you could probably sell it and still get a decent amount of coin for it, maybe 15 or 20. Yeah. I'm
going to indicate that to Jane and I'll be like, if we want to bring any of these are probably things of value that Mr. Parker would be interested in as well.
She'll do a quick assessment of trying to gather them all up and go, I mean, we can gather them up, I suppose. It's just tripping hazard down those stairs. All these frills just seems a little bit excessive to me, if you're asking.
Swifty, who lives a very Spartan life, certainly agrees with that. Is anything over there?
She's gonna look back. Did I see anything other than just tossing powders and shit?
Yeah, the vanity's just torn apart at this point in time. So
yeah.
In the middle of the vanity is a picture of, like I said, June Pumpernickel and one of the daughters, Elizabeth Pumpernickel, with the blonde hair, sitting very prominently. And it depicts the two of them dancing together while wearing mask outfits. There's an open jewelry box, but it's completely empty. One of its drawers, you try to open it, and it seems to be jammed.
Now there's this picture. There's a lot of this makeup crap, and she'll kind of kick at the lipstick that will then roll across the carpet. But there is this little box, and I want to try and is there a way I can figure out how to open this here thing?
Yeah, you can make a tinker roll, or you could make a stunt roll if you want to do it by force, but it'd be tinker usually.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna do tinker, I believe. So here's my question. I haven't put any skill points in tinker, but my aptitude is +1, so do they negate each other? Okay.
Yep, they negate each other. Yeah.
Awesome, just tracking. Oh, hell yeah, that's an 18.
Yeah, oh my gosh, y'all are rolling so good.
I did so good.
So yeah, you're able to What are you using to pop it open? Why don't you go ahead and describe it?
I think she well, maybe I can get this open. She'll kind of shake it a little bit. And if Swifty kind of like puts up his hand to like no, I got it. She's gonna take it over to the side on like the of the vanity and just go, my cousin, I was telling you about, she'd scroll things up in the cabinets. She had one of these and she'd always had little secret love notes in them. And you just got, there's just a trick. And she's gonna like tap it on the side of the vanity like it was like a stuck jar, and just kind of like tap it around the edges before then looking at the hinges and any of the little pins that kind of hold them shut. She's gonna just like pop them open from that side to reveal the contents. A lot of poetry, just and none of them was very good. If I'm being honest, she could have aimed higher.
And you pull out of as you pop open the drawer, something falls out, just this little object, and it glimmers. You'll arrive here sort of in the mid-afternoon, and it's autumn, so it's starting to get dark already. But it's still glimmering here in the dark, and it is a little necklace made of gold with a heart-shaped locket, and it appears to open up. If you'd like to open it.
Yeah, 100%. If there's a heart-shaped anything and you don't open it,
what is this
no.
trash?
you immediately lose your warden's like status if you're not opening every single heart-shaped thing that you can find. It's got to be in the book.
That's right.
In the manual. Yeah, you pop it open, and inside is a little photograph of the same daughter, Elizabeth Pumpernickel, with the blonde hair, and an engraving that says E+J.
I'm gonna look at that and then look at Swifty and go, are you getting a weird vibe about this?
Swifty always gets a weird vibe from rich people, but like, yes, this is particularly.
I mean, I understand liking your, I'm assuming, child or maybe a ward of some kind. I hear all the time back home that rich folks is adopting, youngins to put a feather in their cap and whatnot. But this is fucking weird.
Yeah. Like, I assume this is the sort of locket you would have between,
well, her husband or
right,
some kind of illicit affair of some kind, but
not mothers and daughters.
Not locked away in a music box, I don't think.
No.
Mm.
Is this the adopted? I'm a little fuzzy on this. No. Is this the adopted daughter or is this the natural daughter?
This would be the adopted daughter. Yep.
Interesting. Okay, is there anything else in this room? Otherwise, I think we can pocket that and stow away that this is a weird place.
Yeah, you want me to grab all them fancy dresses now, or we'll come back to them?
I think we can come back to them.
Right.
But what we could do is we can gather a bunch of them and just like dump them over the railings.
Oh, good idea.
Like
and she's just immediately like swooping them out of the closet and like kind of tripping out. She's gonna sneeze like really hard. As she's carrying them. Oh, that's a lot of dust in there. Hooey.
Yeah, so we're gonna create a giant mound of dresses like in the middle of the foyer, not just for ease of transport, but I don't know, maybe if someone happens to fall over this banister, there's gonna be a nice little
oh, I love it.
Nice little cushion for us, because Swifty has seen fatal balcony falls before.
In the Warden manual is in fact always put down a bunch of fabric at the bottom of a balcony.
That's right. There's in fact a diagram of it so that you can get the proper distribution, and it's all there.
How much fabric you need based on how many floors there are.
Right.
So as you all are doing this, You collect some clothes, you drop them off the balcony, you go back in. As you go back in and collect some more, Swifty, and only Swifty, this is because of your vigilance scores, which I can use sort of passively here. Swifty, you suddenly hear a noise in the hallway. It sounds like the pitter patter of feet, like someone running down the hallway.
I have my knife out and I am booking it, and I pass Jane and I'm like, "Someone in the hallway," and I come out into the hallway in the warden fighting stance, ready to go.
And there's nothing there. You didn't hear a door open or anything, but there's just nothing there.
Oh, this is just like the Jefferson house. And I put my knife back in. God, Lincoln's beard. I hate haunted houses.
Jane's just gonna poke her head out, her arms still kind of full of some of these dresses, and go, "Is it all right to come out now?"
Yeah, I think it's fine. And I will also grab an armful.
Yeah, she's just dragging him, dragging on the floor behind her. She's kicking him,
Right, we can wash them later. It's fine.
Yeah, she's not being respectful about these items at all.
Switching over to Merlin and Mrs. Parker. Mrs. Parker was just pointing down at the trap door and looking at you, Merlin, and saying, "I'm just... my knees and the stairs. I know we're both hard 40s, but I might be a hard 45 if you're a hard 40.
Yeah, I understand.
Do you think you could take a look down there?"
You know, I will in just a second, but would you mind checking out back for me real quick? I'm trying to get her away from me for a minute.
Yeah. And she walks to the back door and pokes her head out.
Okay. So I've presumably, they've fallen down. We've kicked a door down upstairs. They've presumably been making noise I can hear here. So I would like to go ahead and I have an ability. I have telepathy as a spell. And I'd like to go ahead and cast it. And I tried to get the other old lady out of the way so she didn't see me casting a spell.
Yeah, and so you're able to do that. And who do you want to cast it to?
Yeah, I'm gonna message Swifty because I assume he doesn't know I can do this.
Amazing.
Swifty, it's Merlin. I'm coming to you from your head.
Jane sees Swifty put his fingers to his head and is like, "Yes, Merlin, I'm receiving you."
Yes, I
love Swifty so much.
Swifty, I heard some noises upstairs. I just wanted to make sure you're alive.
We are both alive.
Okay.
I also heard noises, but there is no one up here apart from us two that I can see. So we may have a ghost situation.
Okay, so do you think there's a trap door here, and she really wants me to go down it, and I'm just not sure what the warden manual says about this.
Well, you should never descend into a basement alone, even if you have Detective Tony Hawk with you.
Right.
So I think if you can keep her occupied while we investigate the rest of the top floor quickly, then we can all go into the cellar together.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good.
Warden Swift, signing out of my own brain.
Great, there's another 60 seconds left on this, so we just need to be very quiet, I guess.
Oh, okay. Well, how are you?
You know,
Jane's just looking at him like, "Oh no, he's lost it like Nana."
Hold on. I think Jane thinks I'm crazy. No, I'm talking to Merlin. I say in a completely insane sounding way.
Is Merlin in the room with us right now?
No, he's downstairs.
No, I'm downstairs.
He says he's downstairs.
A real
it's all right. How about you take a seat?
Yeah, with that, I'm gonna go outside and be like, now before I head down this trap door, and I'm very willing to go look at the basement and all of this, but I have a story I want to tell you. And I'm just gonna kill air here.
Yeah, we can check out some of the other rooms first.
It'll make sense why we can't check this room out first after you hear my story.
Oh, okay. Let's hear the story.
And then I tell a story. I'm not doing.
Okay.
I feel like
I
that's
don't
a
know
really
how
great.
long this is gonna take.
I feel like that's a great opportunity also for us to take a quick break.
Yeah.
Like it's just let me tell you a story, and the camera like pans over to like
That's
the
perfect,
commercial.
Actually. Great. We're gonna go
Awesome.
on like a 5-minute break. Go get some water. Go stretch. Go eat the rest of your dinner. You know, XYZ, and we'll be back in 5 though. Bye, everyone. Hey, look at that! I'm back, and now you all are back.
Whee!
Whee! Yeah, so we're gonna just pick up where we left off, which is Merlin's finishing the story, and he's like, and then, you know, my father, he trapped a salamander under a cup, and he just left it there. And this is why we don't ever enter rooms unless we wait a little bit of time.
Wow. My family also had a snake bucket or a salamander cup. A common fixture in houses down here growing up, and in Utah here as well. And yeah. Have you ever bred cockroaches? This is a random side.
Weirdly, I did.
Oh, wow.
Are we talking about breeding trash bugs? We walk in.
Are the two of you joining?
Are the two of you looking at the other room up there? Is what I believe Swifty said.
I think that's what we're doing. Yeah.
Right now.
Yep.
So while this great story is happening, we are clearing the top floor.
I think there's 3 more rooms for us.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, if we just want to like open the door, look around, see if there's anything immediately shiny or dangerous, and then move.
Yeah. So the boudoir that you're currently in has a door connecting to another room on the northern side. If you want to try that one.
Yeah,
Or you can go through the hall.
I think just connecting's fine.
Swifty's never heard the word boudoir in his life, so he's very confused by that description of this room.
Boudoir. You open the door, and behind this aged oak door is a large bedroom. A poster bed rests against the northern wall, its mattress bare. Some sort of animal has ripped stuffing out of the mattress to make a nest. There are 2 nightstands on either side of the bed and a modest bureau on the southern wall. And there's another door connecting to another room and one connecting to the hallway as well.
Swifty's gonna hold up his hand and look at Jane and be like, could be New Orleans possums in there. Hold on.
I hear they're much worse than Wisconsin possums.
Incredibly dangerous and angry. So I'll approach the bed sort of cautiously with my knife out, ready to attack any of the hissing possums that will leap out at me if they're there.
And you look through the bed and nothing in there right now.
All clear.
I don't know what's worse. Knowing that there's a possum in here or not knowing if there's a possum in here.
It's the not knowing. That's the worst.
You know what, Swifty? I think you might be right. Yeah, and then just while Swifty has like eyes on the bed, I'm gonna try and kind of walk around. Same gambit. I'm opening drawers, throwing my bouquet, but I'm like running my arm around, checking for more like little nooks and crannies, alcoves.
Yeah. You start just popping
the right
things
word?
open.
Nooks and crannies?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Alex.
One of my favorite movies. Anyway.
It's very good.
You're rummaging through this room, starting with the bureau. You're opening all the drawers, lots of men's clothes.
Okay.
Seem nice quality. You open one of the top drawers, and there is an assortment of items in this drawer, sort of a junk drawer-ish. Cufflinks, tie clips, ties themselves. In this drawer, which you can pocket up if you'd like. Some of them might be valuable.
Yeah, I will gather up as much of like the small trinkets that I can, and squirrel them away. If there are any like men's jackets, I would probably like hold them up and do kind of a mirror of what Swifty did in the other. Like, what do you think? And then just kind of put it down before moving to the next door.
Yeah, so you would definitely be like tweed, not your color.
No, you're right. You're right. Where would I wear it?
I mean, you have like a 3-day window. That's about it.
And there are also some nightstands in here too that you would have rummaged through, and both of them have a small little keyhole for a skeleton key. And the nightstand on the left is unlocked. You open it up. It's empty except for 2 earrings, some dusty old cobwebs inside. And when you move to the nightstand on the right, you try to pop it open, and it is locked.
Okay, I have 2 questions. Are the earrings the same set?
That's correct. They match one another. Yeah.
Do they look anything like the big old fancy wedding ring that we saw in the painting?
Yes, they would match, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm logging away that these are not like a mistress's earrings, probably. And then if we need to try and bust open this other nightstand, I would look at Swifty. You want to?
Yeah, you see Swifty get into the stance that he used to kick open the door. And then he's like, wait, no. And then he thinks back to his friend Pretty, who is really good at opening shit because he's a big, beefy guy. And I'm going to look around to see if there's any like leverage things, or do I have a crowbar on me? Maybe I have a crowbar on me.
I'd have to check.
No, I don't have a crowbar on me.
I have a bear trap, if that's helpful in this scenario. I think she would get that out and offer it to you.
Swifty like holds it for a second. It's like, and you see him like sizing up. I actually don't think this is in the manual. I think that would be inappropriate use of bear trap, which could get us written up. So then Swifty's just gonna take the thing, raise it over his head, and smash it to the ground, and see if that like knocks the top off or something.
Yeah, go ahead and make me a stunt roll, and I'll give you a best of 2 because you got some leverage here.
It's good that you gave me best of 2 because my first roll was a 1, but my second roll was a 20. It's a dirty 20.
Hell yeah.
Dirty 20, yeah. And it cracks open, and out of the nightstand, the top falls off, is a small journal with a flimsy leather cover. And it opens up to the first page. And a possum. And that's
not those pocket possums.
All right, so I'll pocket the journal.
Okay. Yeah, I was just going to say, it opened up on the first page, and you could see the initials JPIII or JP3.
JP3. Okay.
And you want to move on to the next story, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I figure that we can do the exposition once we're all back together.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And you open up another door. Tension build. In the door opens, and there is an old study. And in this old study are several tall bookshelves whose large tome-like books have been strewn across the floor along with a rolling ladder. Among the books is a wingback chair and end table, which supports an empty glass decanter. On the southern wall is a large desk with pigeonholes stuffed with paper. And above the desk is an oil painting portrait of James and another young woman, but you would intuit the other daughter, Yolanda Pumpernickel. Yeah, and on the northern wall is an open window that is clattering in the evening wind.
I think Jane will make several comments, kind of disparaging Isabel Parker, saying that she wants a bunch of books, and she didn't even mention they have a whole room of them. What in the hell? She's gonna go over to the desk and start rummaging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know, Swifty is going to be channeling his friend Will and is going to be looking to see if there are any like book titles that stand out as being valuable or rare.
Starting with the desk here, this desk seems to have been rummaged through already at some point during its years of abandonment, maybe by a squatter, who knows what. But what may have once been orderly is now a mess of writing accessories, musty papers, and a broken pair of reading spectacles. These papers, you're flipping through them. They include a withdrawal receipt from the bank and a newspaper clipping whose headline reads, "Why buy pearls? A sound investment."
Yeah, I'm gonna grab both of those, and at some point Jane would put on the glasses and kind of like look through them. To just, you can't see a pair of abandoned glasses and not check the prescription. Like, it's just, there's something about it.
And they help your vision a bit.
Oh. She'll just kind of hold them, be like, well, I'll be damned. She'll like put them on and look around. The words are less squiggly.
I think we can probably fix those up so they don't, so you don't have to hold them.
Oh, and she'll pocket them for sure.
Swifty, you're looking over at the books and you're sort of digging through the piles, and a lot of them are about history and law, things that you might be interested in. But a lot of them are ruined. And even now, as you look outside this window, which is open and clattering, open and shut, a little bit of rain, light sprinkle of rain begins to come in through the window and splatter some of these books.
Careless.
Go ahead. No, sorry.
Is the decanter of value, or is it just glass?
You aren't sure. You can make an assess roll to figure it out if you wanted to, or you could just take it, whatever you want.
I will make an assess roll. My dad, as you know, was a man of wealth, even though I personally am not. But I just got a 10, so I don't know.
A 10, you said? Yeah, you pick it up and you're like, I don't know, is this crystal? And you set it back down, but as you go to set it down, you actually notice that it was covering something up on the end table.
Oh.
And it was a little envelope, unsealed, which appears to have a little letter inside.
I will also put that with the journal so that we can do some collective reading.
I would prefer that way. Some of them words are real hard to sound out.
Yeah, usually I have my librarian do all of my heavy reading for me.
Oh.
There's
What's a librarian?
Oh, at the library. Have you not been to the library?
I don't know what that is.
It's a place that has lots of old books.
Why
I'll get you a card. The librarian there is very nice, and I don't know, there's cool stuff there. You can just borrow them and read them, and then you bring them back.
I suppose. Or you could just leave them there.
Also true. And have the librarian do the reading for you.
Oh, I like that.
So one more door.
Mm-hmm.
One more door. Merlin, do you want to go back to you and check out anything else, or you still want to wait for him?
Oh no, I'm waiting at this point.
Okay, all right. Just want to make sure you aren't getting bored over there.
I'm good.
Good. So there's one more door across the hall on the south side of the hallway, and you go up to it, and the door is unlocked. If you'd like to open it, and as you do,
absolutely,
it opens up, and I have a hairless cat who is smart and creepy though, and is too smart, and we have lever door handles, and he is trying to get in, and the door handle keeps opening on its
amazing.
Own. It's very creepy, and on stream, of course.
Let him in. Let him in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let us see the hairless cat.
Yeah.
We demand.
Come here, Gus. Come on, buddy.
Gus.
We'll see.
His name is Gus.
Now that the
love
door
him
is open,
already.
he doesn't want to come in. Come here, Gus.
Aw.
I love an animal with a human name.
I'm a huge fan. I love cats too because they're like, I need to be in there, and you let them, and they're like, I don't actually.
I was
Look at
lying.
Gus.
The little goblin.
I love that. Oh, look at his ears. I love him. So cute.
He interrupted another stream like last week, 2 weeks ago, where he attempted to jump through my closed window at a climactic moment. So
Amazing.
really smart.
This is great.
Yes,
I was
very,
supposed to
very
be
good
getting
timing.
a hairless cat this month, and then ended up not getting one. So,
Oh.
so this feels great. This...
Yeah,
Sorry.
the universe
No,
is
no,
balanced.
legitimately, like, great. I'm getting to stare at a cat anyway.
Hairless, if you ever get a hairless cat, they are very excellent companions. They're extremely affectionate.
Love it.
You open the door. There's no hairless cat, no possum.
Oh, sad.
Inside
What about hairless
is-
possums?
There is a
Aw.
hairless possum inside, but it's been dead for many weeks, and it reeks. And you are looking in a room with 2 beds, no hairless possums. One of the beds is large, one is small. The headboard of the small bed is engraved with the initials EW.
EW is the big bed or the little bed?
The little bed.
Okay.
Does the big bed have an inscription?
The big bed does not have an inscription. The little bed is like for a toddler, or would have been for like a toddler or young child.
Or a very
Maybe.
spoiled hairless cat?
Yeah.
People are about to have
Okay.
a Goldilocks moment here. This bed is too little.
This bed is too small. Yeah, I think looking around, kind of quickly ascertaining this is a children's room, I'm sure. I do want to pay more attention to that EW though, given that we saw the locket with the inscription. So I feel like I would want to go over and turn over this toddler bed. Like really give it the like I'm just like flipping it, pulling the mattress off. Just
Pulls out a knife,
Ow.
cuts the mattress open.
Yeah, I'm-
digging
yeah.
inside.
yeah, like hitting the side of like the bedpost to see if any like secret compartments open up. Like,
And as you do, like this old little photo falls out, not as you cut anything open, but it falls. It's underneath, sort of tucked in by accident at some point in time, left behind. And you look at it, and it's a woman that you haven't seen before. Definitely not any of the, not the mistress of the house, and a young, very, very young toddler with curly blonde hair, who you might assume is that young girl that you've seen in the portrait elsewhere.
Okay.
The woman who is holding her is wearing a governess's uniform.
okay. And does she? And she looks completely unfamiliar.
She looks like the young girl in the photo, and you
Okay.
think they might be related.
I will hand this to Swifty, as he has most of the artifacts.
Swifty has just been standing in the door looking on in awe as you completely destroy this bed. And he's just like, I'm already going to be recommending Jane for like super advanced search courses because like we are so far beyond. She's got it all down. I am thoroughly impressed.
She's like sweating and again is just like running her her sleeve along and like will actually kind of spit over to the side. Well, I think that's all that's gonna be found here. But
Yeah, I firmly believe that. I could not do a better job. But so again, it's just the 2 beds. There's no like wardrobe or chest or anything like that.
It seems like the room was packed up a long time ago. So where all these other rooms are lived in, this one has basically been cleared out except for the beds.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go rejoin Merlin and Tony Hawk and Mrs. Parker, and let's do some reading of this exposition material.
after you, librarian. She'll like nudge. She's not doing it. She's
like-
gonna walk down the hall.
Okay.
And
You all
then I
come
opened the
downstairs.
door and there was a hairless possum. I'm just still telling stories down here.
Whoa! A hairless possum in the oven. Wow, that is incredible.
Yeah, it's those Mississippi possums for you.
Oh my goodness. I did spend my youth in Jackson, but we never saw anything like that. So.
Look, they arrived.
Look at you. We lost track of time. We just started swapping stories about possums, lizards, salamanders, snakes. Salamanders are amphibians, I guess, not under the lizard family. Learn something new every day. Thank you, Merlin. And
Yeah, of course. It's very important you understand the difference between. Next, we're going to teach you hawks and pigeons. That's some advanced learning.
oh, I hope I haven't been making that mistake my whole life.
Be very embarrassing. It'd be a hard 45.
Isn't a pigeon a type of a hawk? I've heard of a pigeon hawk before. I just assumed
it's a very common mistake around these parts.
Oh, jeez. Oh. Well,
how'd the search go?
Yes,
We found stuff.
We found
something.
so much stuff.
Oh.
And she's just gonna start emptying her pockets of the like cufflinks and stuff that she found, and just start putting everything on the table, and gesture back. And there's a whole bunch of fancy dresses out in that foyer.
We found a tea set.
Yes.
Oh.
Nothing else.
A murder tea set?
You know, we thought we would try it, and then it was like, maybe we should send this off. I wasn't sure what the Warden handbook had to say about it. You know, I'm fairly green under the gills.
Indeed, yeah. You probably haven't gotten your requisition for that yet, but it is very important that you do because there's a lot of important information in there. And if you ever want to borrow any of my handwritten 23 appendices, just let me know. Because there's a lot of extra information.
Read those for me.
I already had my
Very
appendix
wise.
taken out, so I don't think I need another one.
Let alone 23. So Swifty will also pull out the book and the journal and the letter and the newspaper and be like, we also found these, which I think are of historical note. And he's clearly trying to like gussy up to her and be like, look at what a good warden job I did.
Oh, you did such a nice job, son. Bless your heart. And she pats you on the head.
Thank you.
You know, it's no tea set, but it is pretty nice looking.
This tea set, significant. Put in a museum. And a hawk or a pigeon pulled it out.
Tony does incredible work.
I feel like now we're the meme where it's like the younger woman leading her grandma and the grandma's saying something. It's like a pigeon stole it from the cupboard, and we're like, yes, grandma, time for bed.
Yeah, Miss Parker, you wouldn't happen to know who this woman is? And I want to show her the photograph of the governess.
She adjusts her glasses.
Yes,
Gets real close. And,
I will pull out mine and
up.
mimic.
Oh, well, that is the governess. That was Victoria Warner. That was Elizabeth's mother, I believe. And when she passed, the Pumpernickel family had adopted little Elizabeth, that sweet, sweet little child.
Mm. And how did Victoria meet her demise?
Oh, nothing like a freak accident or anything like that this time around. I'm sorry, but cancer.
Is that cancer brand sugar?
Not cancer brand sugar or salt. Not anthrax brand salt or anything like that.
These are the only notes I've taken down so far.
But yes, she says very seriously, cancer.
Yeah. And was Miss June, was she particularly fond of Elizabeth? Was it her idea to adopt, as far as anyone knows?
Oh, I imagine it was a family decision. But yes, June had a great liking for Elizabeth, and Elizabeth so resembled her already that I think it in the letters you can hear them talking about just how natural it seemed, and even little Yolanda, they said was Elizabeth's best friend. They were already like sisters, so it only made sense for the family to have adopted them. Quite a wonderful, picture-perfect family until the well incident in the poison.
That would put it down.
Pumpernickel? Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. Go for it.
Was there a Julia Pumpernickel? We found a bust.
Pumpernickel. that's way back. And she pulls out her notebook, sort of clinking some of the teapots around, and then pulls up the large pack, puts it back. She looks at her notes. Oh, Julia Pumpernickel was the daughter of James Pumpernickel I. That would have been my math is not so great here. The grandmother of James Pumpernickel III.
So Julia kept the Pumpernickel name when she, I assume she married.
Oh,
and had the child, or was the child held out of wedlock?
Oh, that's a good question. I'd have to look back at my genealogy books here. Potentially kept the name. I'd have to look that up.
Oh, no worries. We found
Alex is
a
actual. Well, he's an antiquarian, so damn it. And his partner is a historian, so I should have prepped for that. So, anyway, So there is some genealogical confusion there potentially.
Okay. So we also found this journal and this letter, and do you want to read them?
Yes, read them aloud for us.
Yes, please.
Oh, I love story time. And Jane is absolutely gonna like a little kid in kindergarten, like sit down on the floor, her legs crisscross, and just lean forward and get ready.
Swifty busts out his sausages and crackers and starts divvying them up so everyone can have a nice snack.
So the journal has a lot of entries in it, but like a good historian, Mrs. Parker flips to the back. Let's get to the new stuff. Who cares about that old crap? Oh, this one looks juicy, she says, and licks her finger and flips the paper. Oh, it says, I dreamt. Oh, wait. So I guess I'll describe a few other things first. As you flip through the journal, it seems to be a dream journal. In which most of the entries are fairly banal. Dreams of eating cake, wearing only underwear to a city council meeting, reliving memories with old and dear relatives, as well as June after she had passed. But a few nightmares stand out, most having to do with teeth. But the final entry that might make one's hair stand on end says, I dreamt of her last night. I dreamt that I was writing letters at my desk late in the evening when I heard a noise out back. I got up from my desk and walked to the window, where in the moonlight I saw them at the old well. I fumbled with the latch and slid the window open to yell, but when I looked out again, it was only my wife, standing angrily in the moonlight. Perhaps with me, but mostly her, angry still. It's a little confusing, but as the dream is. I can't make heads or tails of this, Mrs. Parker says.
I mean, if it was a dream journal, your dreams don't always make sense.
Oh, suppose that's possible.
There's probably no mystery here to be solved. I think we're thinking about it too hard.
That's what I always say about history. History is no mystery. And you had an old letter too?
Yeah.
And for you all here, I threw that dream journal entry into the Discord chat.
Perfect.
So you find a letter, however, its ink has faded considerably. There are only a few remaining legible portions, including the signature, which says James Pumpernickel III, and the name to whom the letter is addressed, Dr. W. Hiller. And the only legible portion says, and she reads this out loud, of course, she has denied everything about that evening, and I couldn't bear to share it with anyone else. Now, I am no longer sure if what I saw was a mere flight of fancy or the horrifying truth. I'm hoping it's the former. What do you suggest I do with her, doctor?
Does the name of this doctor sound familiar?
Nope. Nope, not off the top of your head.
This is a pickle.
Miss Parker, you're absolutely sure that there was only the 4 pumpernickels?
Mm-hmm. 100% certain.
Mm.
So
I mean,
go ahead.
it sounds nefarious at the least, and I learned that word recently, so I'm real proud of being able to use it with y'all right now. But
It's a good word. It's a good
I
word.
did I use it right? Was that
You
right?
did- yes.
Oh,
Mhm.
excellent. I am mighty pleased. But I can't help but feel like folks just don't fall down wells. Not unless they have, collie dogs, in which case it happens a lot, at least
Oh,
where I'm
yes.
from.
Lucky they have the collie dogs. Speaking of powerful animal companions, Merlin, I'm sure we've all
would
met a
push me
collie.
down a well. I do understand.
Yes. Yes, that's what I was saying.
Mm.
Well,
Anyways, but perhaps we should just take a gander down in that cellar.
Yes, the cellar I definitely just told you about now.
Yes,
Oh.
indeed.
That was exactly what we were just about to do.
How interesting.
And
How bizarre.
wow,
I just assumed we debriefed.
wow. And she bends down with her big pack and she almost tips over and she rights herself and then flips open the trap door. And it does indeed appear to lead into the cellar. Shadows gather in the corners of this very small and cool room, and a set of stairs go deep into these shadows.
All right, I'll pull out my torch again. Pull out my
And
electric torch, light it up a little bit.
you shine down in there, and there's this brittle-looking stairwell, this ancient smell, musty, rising out of it. When you turn on your light, a couple of insects scurry across the floor and out of the cellar. And the arc of the light reveals old shelves lining very moist walls.
Great.
You can see down in there, and there are shelves lining the walls with. There's a couple canisters on them from where you can see, but there might be a little bit more if you head down the stairs.
All right, class, we're taking a field trip. Let's go.
Yeah, I think I will go down first, just in case. I don't know, and I think we should wait till I'm down at the bottom because I don't know if these stairs are going to bear all of our weight.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Swifty will go down. He's got his knife out, but at the moment it is pointed down, regulation. So if I fall, I don't stab myself.
You just stab your leg, yeah.
Luckily,
Exactly.
There's nothing important in your legs, so this makes sense.
Nope. Legs,
Least
got
important.
2 of those.
All right, I'll head
you
down
walk-
afterward.
You walk down the stairs, but you're being very cautious, and you step on one of the steps towards the bottom, and it cracks beneath your feet. Give me a reflex roll, but because you're being cautious, best of 2.
All right, my first roll is a 12. My second one's a 13, so that's 16.
Okay. Yeah, and you catch yourself last second. You're able to head on down.
I will relay the warning and say, "Yep, creaky old stairs. Be careful."
These stairs look a hard 60. I'll head.
Yes.
I'll head on down.
Yeah, so the group of you head down, or are you heading down to Jane, or are you staying up top?
Yeah, I would be the last, I think, just kind of reassuring Miss Parker that we'll be fine, we'll be all right, we'll be back before you know it.
You have to let the olds down first.
And as you go down, you leave the cellar door open, I'm assuming, or do you want to close it behind you?
I want to leave it open, 100%. I'm not closing this
Oh,
door.
no worries. 1 second. Tony. Let me Okay, Tony, I'm gonna leave you at the top of the stairs. If you see anything, I need you to squawk. Do you understand me? Yes, he understands. Okay. I'll take it back up the stairs.
Yeah. So you look down there, like I said, shadows in the corners of the room. You shine your light around. There are walls lined with shelves, and on most of the shelves is a combination of cans and sealed jars. On one shelf, it's bare except for 2 tin canisters, each of which have a label but are covered in dust. A few empty jars and tin cans are scattered across the floor, and in one corner of the room is a pile of old clothes and 3 bedrolls. A musty smell assaults your nose.
I'm gonna take out my little duster kit and I'm gonna head over to the cans and I'm just gonna yes, everyone is sneezing. Swifty
Jane
particularly
is not. Jane
Oh.
seems like totally fine. Like it's just more dirt at this point.
Jane
Like
just
it's
lives
not a
like
problem.
this.
Swifty has severe dust allergies, so this is but it's all in the line of duty, so we got it.
You hear upstairs Tony sneezing.
I think there's something happening upstairs. Run back up the
You
stairs.
dust off the tin canisters, and one says arsenic, and the other says arsenic sugar.
Yeah, these really should not have been stored together. I
No.
do not. This is a terrible marketing idea. Like the branding is awful.
I mean,
this is really bad.
The saying was "so good it'll kill you," and if you think about it that way,
Mhm.
it was fine.
Yeah, they
had
just took
that-
it a little too far.
I think there's the jars, and I'm sorry, I missed what else is down here?
In the corner of the room, a pile of clothes and 3 rolled up bedrolls.
Yeah, I want to take a gander at those. Like, if these are better camping supplies than what I got, I want some.
And you get over here and it's stinky. Pile of clothes. There's some dirty denim jeans. There's a sweater, several stained short sleeve shirts, and a left boot. They seem to be for someone who is taller and of a larger build or size. They seem to be newer than most of the things that are in this house.
Okay.
Did you fart?
Go for it.
There's a smell over there.
No, I would tell you if I had. I'd like to announce that kind of thing. It makes
That's
things
very
less
fair.
awkward for
Okay.
everyone. They're stained. Can I try and see like what hue these stains are? Like, are we talking like blood stains, shit stains? Like, what are we looking at here?
A whole lot of shit stains.
This is
All the
this seems
bedrolls.
to be covered in shit.
That would
Serial
explain the
shitter in
smell.
Got a serial shitter on our hands. So roll me make me an assess roll to determine that, or you can make a search roll to
Sarah,
see if
you
there's
need to fail
anything.
this roll. I'm so sorry.
I'm probably gonna. I'm not very good at these kinds of rolls. Like, I had no business. This assess roll, it will still be it'll be a -1 to this roll. So, let's see it. So it's gonna be a 10. I rolled an 11.
Okay. Yeah, you are not sure what type of stain this is, but dirt stain, some sort of older stain in there. Yeah, something musty coming over here. Some of it's coming from the clothes, but it's not just the clothes, something else.
I I would like to go to the bottom of the stairs and yell up to Isabel Parker. Miss Parker, you didn't happen to have anybody like a groundskeeper or someone else coming around here helping you before or keeping after the property at all, did you? Maybe a
somebody down-
one-legged individual?
Just a left
Is
leg.
somebody down there?
No,
What?
not that I can tell. I guess I want to go back over to the pile. Is this like a dead body? Is there like
There's-
okay?
You would have to be really bad at your roll.
Okay.
There's a whole dead body here.
Oh fuck!
Oh,
Now that
I
I moved
guess.
the blanket, there is in fact a. Did you move
There's,
the
like-
bed sheets?
Bats fly out and like the skull like comes out of the wall.
No dead bodies over there, but
Mm.
yeah.
No, Miss Parker, we just found a pile of smelly clothes, but it's more recent than the other styles we've seen.
Think there's a squatter in here? You think
Oh, I
somebody
had
in-
not considered. You know, that
or
would be really
smugglers,
smart.
maybe, smugglers.
Now, have
They
you
are smuggling a
seen-
lot of stinky shit.
Have you seen anyone either with just one left leg or maybe just a shoe but only on their right foot?
That's an
The
excellent
right
question.
foot bandit.
I heard he did strike around these parts.
I've got an entire dossier on this guy.
I heard it, but I heard he was caught in the Fringe Quarter recently. I don't think.
Was he caught boot-footed?
Was he covered in shit?
But I can't say that I've seen anyone around here recently matching that description or in general.
And it is very
No.
specific.
Yeah.
Okay, that is good to know. We'll go back to searching.
I'll keep an eye out though.
Do.
For any right-booted reprobates. Oh, good night.
So it was just this pile of stuff and the shelf with the 2 jars on it.
That's correct.
Cool. I think we've exhausted our search here.
Go
yeah.
for it.
I was in agreement.
Okay, yeah, I mean, we can go. I just, like, there's that smell that's coming from something. And so that's, like, there is a source here. And I don't feel
Mm.
right, like, if somebody's left something down here, like food
Oh, don't-
or...
I can come look behind you. No worries.
Jane should not be the one to do that. But she is going to be like, I don't know. There's something
I
more
also
to
have a
this.
-1 to, or a -1 to assess. So it's great that I'm gonna come behind you and look. Okay. So that's a 3.
Amazing.
Love it.
Now, are you
You
sure
fall
there's
right
not
in their
a
shit.
dead body over here?
Yeah, you smell it too though, and you just cannot put your finger on what about this room stinks. But something does.
Are you sure you didn't fart? It's nothing to be embarrassed about. It's a natural
honey.
function of your body.
Listen, I can rip them with the best of them. You would not believe the kind of evenings the Macabres have. I'll tell you about it sometime. But could there be a door or something we're missing here? Swifty, is there anything in the manual about obscene smells? With
it's got
unknown
there's an entire
origins.
chapter. There's an entire chapter about illegal obscene smells, legal obscene smells, the smells that should be legal but are in fact not.
I think this is probably an illegal smell since someone was squatting here.
Right. So Swifty does have a bit of a nose. So can I make a search roll to snoot around to see if I can detect the source of the stink?
Yeah, sniff around, super sniffer.
Okay, I will. That is a 17.
Damn.
Hell
I really hope it
yeah.
was a 1. I'll be honest.
Right. Just takes a big whiff of shit,
Yep, that's shit.
vomits.
Oh no.
Whoa.
And then there's a new smell that covers up the old smell, so there's no way for us to know.
We've lost the trail
Oh,
because
smell.
Swifty had a really foul smelling breakfast too.
If
so
only we had
Hmm.
Tony, the hawk detective, who is notoriously very good at smelling.
He's sitting at the
Right.
top of the stairs. Yeah,
That's that one thing that
unfortunate.
hawks do real well. Everyone thinks it's the eyesight thing. That's what they want you to believe. That's big pigeon talking.
Big pigeon, don't get me started. Swifty, you search around and you find a couple of things by rolling more than a single digit number. And you first you notice that there is a dead rat lying behind the tin canisters. But you aren't sure if that's the full source of this. I don't know, maybe it is. And then you also find it's the tiniest thing with your excellent roll. Next to the pile of clothes is a single drop of blood, just a tiny little drop, and it has dried up.
Okay. I'm going to grab the rat by the tail and hold it up. I put on a glove first. And I just sort of like display the rat to Merlin and Jane. I'm like,
yeah, that's a rat.
And I'm sort of twisting it around to show like what does it have wounds on it? Yeah. Does it have wounds on it? What killed it?
If you had to guess,
which I do have
by the foam coming out of its mouth, you might guess that it got its hands on some arsenic, not the arsenic sugar variety either.
That's interesting because rats can't actually vomit, so it's interesting that he has the.
I just said foaming.
I'm just giving.
They can foam, right?
Listen, in Gothic horror, rats are different.
Yeah, rats can vomit. They evolved it. It's fine.
That's right. It's been hundreds of years. There's radiation that's they've evolved to vomit. Bless them.
Do some rat research now.
Am I able to see if this blood drop is isolated or if there is a trail?
You look around and you can only find the one.
Does it without moving? Like if I move, like sort of poke around with my boot, the
move everything around. One drop. Very strange.
That could be as much as I hate to say it. This could be a seer. I've known some people who can do some incredible things with a single drop of blood.
What about with a rat boot?
I know fewer things to do with a right boot, but but a left.
Is the left boot more powerful? I like the way you think, Merlin. I like the way you think.
If I look up, what is directly above the blood drop?
The ceiling.
Yes.
The ceiling. There are rafters above you. You can see a tiny bit of pinprick of light shining through the floorboards up into the kitchen, but that's about it.
I'm going to go back upstairs and see if there's blood on the kitchen floor.
Go up there, you look. No blood on the kitchen floor.
I'm gonna pick up these soiled clothes again. They smell bad. Jane don't care. She's picking them up and she is gonna bring them upstairs.
No, we should get the butler to do that for sure.
What's a butler?
Do you see anybody butling around here?
This ain't that kind of place. She's gonna take that up the stairs, calling out to Miss Barger that she might want to give a wide berth to the door there, ma'am. She comes up around and she'll take them to a corner in the kitchen. So in this better lighting, though fading, kind of strew them out to ascertain this particular individual's build.
Yeah, and you realize there's actually a mix of clothes in here, and one actually may seem to belong to a woman, but some of these clothes definitely belong to what you might think at least is a man, like a larger man based off of the size of the pants, for example, like taller.
Gotcha.
So you for sure didn't see two squatters with one left leg between the two of them.
No, not recently. Yes,
But
not
your
recently.
family, I'm understanding. Well, there are some rooms we didn't look at up here. Why don't we go
Yeah.
check them out as a group?
Just one more room. She says she's got a little watch and she looks at it and she also looks outside. And you all notice it's starting to get dark and you can
Mhm.
really hear the wind blowing outside. Sounds like a storm is starting to blow in. And she leads the way. She takes you through the northern hallway. And through this northern hallway, it runs east to west, but it's on the north side of the building. At either end is a door. So you're leaving the kitchen and you're heading towards the opposite door. There is glass littering the floor in this hallway and this broken window on the northern wall, which overlooks a veranda and below it the ancient cemetery beneath what's now a dark and stormy sky. And the glass crunches under your feet as you walk down the hall. And she walks up to the door and she opens it. And it opens into a bedroom. Inside are two beds on opposite sides of the room, which has been split. The room has been split in half. On the western side of the room is a body-length mirror beside the bed, along with several ancient jars and brushes for makeup. Nearby is a closet filled with old, mildewy dresses, some of which were once of great worth. And on the eastern side of the room, there's a small bookshelf next to a bed. And atop the bookshelf are several jars and a picture frame.
We should probably check those beds out. Does somebody have a knife they can give me?
I shrug.
I'll take it. I'm gonna go ham on one of these beds.
So, which one do you want to do, I guess?
The left one.
Okay.
Left is right.
Left is right.
Okay. Yeah. So you go ham on the left bed. Geez, let me get my north. There's east and west. Okay. So left would be the western side of the room, right? Okay. Let's see.
Left is west is the other saying.
Left is west. Yeah, you start stabbing in that mattress, ripping apart the old pillow. Nothing, not even a hairless possum.
Damn. Room's empty. We should have.
I mean, I'm gonna look at, like, if Merlin's looking at one of the beds, I'll look at the other one. That same surgical
Are you gonna
precision.
Go ham on the east bed?
Yeah, 100%. I found a weird old picture in a bed before. I ain't gonna give up now.
I love that there are other things in this room, and we've both been like, we're gonna fuck up a bed.
Yeah, beds to fuck up. Yeah, step one.
Step
Yeah.
one.
It's in the
Find
manual.
all the secret things under the mattress. That's where all the good stuff is. After that, like, I should say low hanging fruit is gonna be under the mattresses. After that, you're getting into, like, higher stuff.
So you walk over to the other bed, and next to this bed, on the bookshelf, there's like half a dozen books amidst a net of cobwebs. Some of them are larger tomes, others are little books cut from larger books, bound and rebound together. They seem to cover a variety of topics: history, science, literature. 3 dusty jars and a picture frame sit on top of that shelf. The jars have twigs and some desiccated leaves in them, maybe once home to some small pets. The picture frame holds a black and white photo protected by aged glass, yet quite faded, and it shows Yolanda Pumpernickel and her sister Elizabeth hugging one another. But the frame's glass is cracked, and the entire right side of the glass featuring Elizabeth is shattered and destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the bed, and just as you're about to go ham on it, something in the pillowcase moves.
Oh, I know that there is a possum on the loose for sure. I will pull out my hatchet and hold a hand up and just look over at Swifty and mouth.
Swifty
Point.
has got his bow and arrow out and is like trained on the pillowcase.
She's gonna like hand gesture for Merlin to block the door so this thing can't get out.
Merlin gets by the door and pulls out a rifle. We haven't seen it, but I've had it this whole time. Just hammer spaced out of a book pack.
And I'm going to I'm not gonna like attack the pillow outright, but I am gonna try and like nudge it with my hatchet.
And as you nudge it, a hairless possum comes out and hisses at you.
Okay,
Tony, it's time to eat.
Right, I shoot it.
Yeah, go ahead. And I'm just going to give it to you.
Yeah.
You shoot it. And the poor little possum just falls dead.
Don't call it a poor little possum, then I'll feel sad.
Possums are really great for the environment. Fun fact.
Yeah, well, you know what possums are also great for? Tony's dinner.
That's true. And
Tony
Tony did
looking quite peckish.
Yeah, he did so much work today.
He opened a cupboard. He brought tea.
So what I'm gonna do is pick up the end of the pillowcase that it came out of and just kind of swoop it back in there. So it's contained in a little bag, and kind of move that gingerly away from the bed.
Thank you.
And
it's a to-go bag for Tony. We appreciate it.
Yeah, as it just like slowly stains with little possum blood, and continue my task. And just I think she'll say, "Sorry, little fella, wrong place, wrong time."
And you don't have to do much to continue your task because under the pillowcase was a little book titled "We Have Always Lived in the Castle" by Shirley Jackson.
Oh, some old world lit.
And if one of your characters wants to know what that's about, if they don't, you can make a lore or culture roll.
Oh, I
do
do lore culture. Yeah.
Sarah, we can roll off. Just see who gets it better.
Let's do it.
That is a 16 for me.
You beat me. Because I got a 14.
Merlin just immediately pops in your head. Oh yeah, old world classic. 2 siblings from the Heartlands who lost their family to poison. One of the siblings poisoned the family by mixing arsenic with sugar.
Interesting. I guess I do share that information. I don't seem to draw the connection because this is just a thing that happens. But I do share.
This is every other week.
The book says. My librarian read it to me.
I gotta get one of these librarians. They sound. I save everyone a lot of time. They are well paid, are they not?
Yeah, for sure.
For such a service.
Yeah, it's like 5 gold.
Oh. You watch her eyes get. Holy shit! Her eyes get really wide. Fuck this! I'll be a librarian. Goddamn. Okay, Sarah, the player, is going to talk now because this is weird, but like follow me for a second because this is kind of also what Jane is thinking. So we've got this book. We've got this book that's like that is the exact story of what's happened here. We have the dad who's keeping a dream journal. Jane thinks that there's some weird magic stuff that's happening that like dreams maybe like become more real in some aspect.
Old
you know what I mean?
Classic. It's stranger than fiction.
But like it just all of these things seem so bizarre that there doesn't seem to be like a practical answer in her mind. Like it's still all too abstract. So in her head, this is some weird magic stuff, like that is beyond her ken, and that again, like she knows one of the little kids did something. She's not sure what it is, but one of the kids did something. And the family covered it up. But for some reason, like all of this is the pushing down the well is the only piece that doesn't fit.
Well, I think that may have been the start. of the
Mm.
problem. So based on, so we've got
Oh.
a child who loves books and is not their mother's favorite.
Mm-hmm.
So perhaps we have a child who is envious of the affection that their mother shows for their adopted sibling, pushes the
Mm-hmm.
mother down the well, family finds out, covers it up, and then daughter poisons the rest of her family, inspired by the book that she read. This is why books are dangerous for children. This is why libraries do not allow anyone under the age of 16 to get ideas into your noggin.
There's something I think something like that, right? And that would make sense for it to be Yolanda because it was in the father's study, and Yolanda was the father's kind of favorite. The only thing is he saw people at the well. I don't know, maybe that's just like a weird dream detail, but like it feels like there was something, like the wife was angry about something before she died. She was angry at herself and him for something. Maybe that's a larger picture thing. I don't know.
Could be. I mean, he says he saw them, but then when he opened the window, it's only his wife.
It was
So
just her. Yeah.
I mean, it could be that he saw the murder.
Mm.
And the murderer knew that he knew, and so ended up killing him to cover their tracks.
Interesting. Imagine that Jane articulated most of this very poorly. Like, what if there's some dream nonsense, y'all?
Dream
some
nonsense.
Weird hoobity-whatities going on with these little girls and that creepy locket that we found.
You don't think she was reading the book because it just sounded like the thing that happened to her family, then?
Well, no, she died. They both died.
Oh, right.
Both little girls. So that's my thing, is I don't think, I mean, kids are bright, but it's possible that, they just didn't think their plan all the way through and something happened, or it almost seems influenced by something else. We also have this strange pile of recent clothes, which makes me wonder if perhaps there was something uncouth happening here that the Pumpernickel family was trying to keep under wraps. What was that receipt for? Did we ever give that a closer look?
Good point.
So you pull out the receipt, and it's a withdrawal from the bank. And the historian, Mrs. Parker, looks at it and says, yes, well, this makes sense because this is James Pumpernickel III initiated New Orleans becoming an independent city, and people are worried that these financial institutions would fail. So he withdrew all of their money, and that's where the legend of the family fortune came from. And it's still supposedly somewhere on this property today.
There's also something about pearls.
Yeah, buying pearls. I think that's probably what it was, is a good old-fashioned hide the funds in a different way.
Yeah,
well, that would be ingenious.
So the only flaw I'm seeing in this whole thing is that everyone in the family died.
Yeah. And that's why I feel like there's some like hokey dooky spooky magic going on. Something went awry. And I don't know if it was
not a mystery, young lady. History is not a mystery, as me and Merlin always say. But let humor me here. I have an idea. Follow me. And she starts heading towards the foyer.
Yeah, I'm following. Yeah.
We sidestep. Right, we sidestep the dresses.
Jane walks right through it. Just trudge.
Oh, no, that's quality fabric. Okay.
It is?
It's fine. Just keep walking. You've already ruined it.
She clears out the floor, and she begins to unpack her bag, pulls out half a dozen candles, a planchette board, like a Ouija board style thing, and some chalk. And she begins to light the candles, because if you all have noticed, it's gotten extremely dark in here because it's storming outside. And holding a candle to her face, Mrs. Parker looks at you all and says, "The last thing that I hope you might help me with, I don't know if you're the superstitious type, she says, winking conspiratorially at you. But I thought we might try a planchette board. After all, they say this place is haunted. And if this is the last chance to search for the Pumpernickel fortune, we might as well try everything there is.
I'm not superstitious. I'm just a little stitious. So that's fine.
I might describe myself as extremely stitious.
I would say I am a moderate on this topic. I don't like to take sides in these kinds of matters. It's important
Agnostic stitious.
Yeah. A centralist.
And regardless of what you say, she's already at it. She pulls out some chalk.
She's already on the floor.
She's like, I've been waiting for this.
And she's like very excited. She starts writing the numbers 0 through 9 on the floor, as well as every letter of the alphabet, and then a yes and a no. And she places a planchette board on the floor, and it's dark except for the glow of candles.
Wait. When we're writing on the floor, you cannot forget goodbye. If you do not write goodbye on the board, they can possess you.
Oh shit, she says so. Thank you. It's goodbye on there. And she calls you all over and she says, Wardens, please join me in touching the planchette board.
Do you want Tony's little claws in on this?
Tony, get in here. Yeah, that's my hawk scream.
Perfect.
So, as you all sit down and touch the planchette board, it's quiet for a moment. You can hear the wind howling outside, some rain. Swifty, you hear a pitter patter again. Maybe it's the rain. Maybe it's something upstairs. Regardless, Mrs. Parker doesn't hear it, and she begins the seance by introducing herself and asking a question. Spirits, I'd like to invite you here. This is Isabel Parker. Is anyone here? And suddenly the planchette board begins to move underneath your hands. And it slowly moves to yes. She whispers to you quietly, why don't you introduce yourselves?
No, of course.
Ask a question.
Yes, of course. Spirit. I am Merlin. Where do you hide all of your money?
The planchette board stands still for a moment and then begins to move. First, it goes to the letter D. And then it goes to the letter E. And then to the letter A, T, and H.
Has anyone heard of
ominous at all?
Deeth before?
Yeah, where is this Deeth?
Not a room I'm familiar with.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't there a little cemetery plot on the premises?
Yep.
Okay.
That would be the Deeth.
She gestures for one of the rest of you to ask a question.
I'm going to say that Swifty is like, he's got it one hand on the board and the other hand is like flattened down the manual next to him, and he's like rifling through it to get to the what to ask a ghost if you're seancing part of the manual. So I'll wait. Like, Jane, you can have the next question because I gotta look this up.
What the actual next question is of course,
right.
And the planchette board begins to move, and it goes to the letter J and P.
JP. I mean, that's James or June.
Or Julia.
Or Julia. So many J names. How could they? Jane will clear her throat. Hello, Miss Elizabeth. My name's Jane. It's nice to meet you. Did Yolanda kill June Taft?
Do you say, did Yolanda kill, what'd you say?
June.
And let's see here. She spells out the word, or she goes to the section of the board that says yes.
That's something.
Mrs. Parker looks a little bit upset. I know you're up next, Swifty, but this like shocks her, and maybe it upsets some of her theories about the history here. And she says, "Why are you still here?" And the planchette board creeps over to the R, and then to the E, and the V, and the E, and then the N, and then the G, and then the E.
All right, so Swifty has got his manual open and to the right page. And he says, "Warden Gideon Swift, at your service, spirit. Is there someone that you need to j'accuse?"
And the board begins to move. D, A, U, G, H, T, E, R, and it rapidly begins to move faster and faster as it flips through the letters. And
I have one more
as it
question, if that's allowed.
No, sorry. As it
Okay.
hits the last letter, the R, all of a sudden, a large gust of wind blows through the house, slamming all of the doors at once and blowing out the candles. And I need you all to make a resolve roll for me.
Oh, shit.
That's fair. Got an 11 under 12.
8 under 12.
1 under 14.
Holy shit.
So
I like the idea that this is just another like Tuesday for Merlin. He's just like, yeah, whatever. Ghost is gonna ghost.
Happening, and I slide the planchette to goodbye.
You all do get so you don't get scared by it, or like not fully. So you only take a little bit in this instance because it's still a scary event. But so each of you only lose 2 resolve points, which it would have been 4 originally. So
Nice.
And Mrs. Parker says, "Death. You think it's in the crypt?"
I do.
So Swifty lights his lantern, and he is going to pull it up to Mrs. Parker's face. And this is just a thing that's been rattling in my brain. Does she bear any resemblance to Yolanda? Any at all?
You think maybe she could have, but Yolanda had this birthmark on her face, and Mrs. Parker does not.
I want to pull. I see what Swifty's doing. I want to reach in my into where I've squirreled away Swifty's handkerchief and go, "I'm sorry there, Miss Parker. It looks like you got something there on your face. Give me just a moment." And I want to wipe her face because I just saw a bunch of makeup upstairs, and I know that this is a thing. I want to wipe where that mark should have been.
And if you want to do that, you're going to have to catch her, because suddenly she begins to book it towards the front door and out into the rain. So
I'm
in order to
100%
stop her,
Into the rain.
you have to make a stunt roll.
A stunt. Okay, so let's see.
Can I assist in any way?
We will say you can try to catch up and tackle her and stuff.
Okay,
but,
man.
Jane gets the first shot here.
I am not good at stunt. That's a 16.
Oh yeah, you got her, and you trip this poor old lady, right as she's going outside. And she falls down, and you come up with, Swifty comes up with his lantern, and the rain is falling on her, and the makeup begins to reveal a small birthmark on her face.
J'accuse!
And she says, we have to go to the crypt. We have to get the fortune at least.
I'm not listening to you. You're a murderer. You push your
Yes.
mother down a well.
Swifty has like rotated her onto her face and is in the process of handcuffing her and being like, Miss Yolanda Pumpernickel, I am arresting you under the suspicion of murder under the New Orleans Penal Code, Section 1, Archive 2, murder of a family member and parent.
Now, this seems a little dramatic, does it not? This was a hard 38 years ago.
We didn't plan on the rain, Merlin. There was no accounting for the weather. It just is what it is.
There's got to be a statute of limitations, I believe is what Merlin is saying.
There is no statute of limitations on murder, ma'am.
Okay, but did we ask if they had it coming? Some people need to be murdered. That's all. And you should know, it's in the
Swifty
Warden
looks
handbook.
up at you and is like, that is not in the manual, sir. That is not in the manual. No, no, no.
Jane will, like, once you've got Miss Pumpernickel secured, she will say, I do think, though, we should maybe still try to check the crypt, just for other purposes. It could perhaps be used for good, though I can't imagine that little Miss Shovey McShove would agree.
So I'll haul her to her feet, and I'll like, all right, we're gonna go look into the crypt, but you're coming with us.
She doesn't look happy about going into the rain, but she's obviously curious, like she wants to know. And so you all begin to move outside, and you'll need light sources, but due to the wind and rain, they're sort of hard to keep lit. So
I have an electric torch, to be
Good thing
clear.
there's an electric torch on the field. Oh yeah.
great. So with the electric torch, that's perfect. They can still fail and flicker and stuff, but much less likely to go out here. And you go outside where night has fallen, a storm has raised up around you. The grass is wet and tall after being unmanaged for years. You cross this fallen fence of the old cemetery where there are maybe 6 or 7 gravestones on the property poking their heads out from the grass. At the center of the cemetery, on a raised mound of earth, is an extravagant crypt with Grecian columns and friezes carved from stone. River grapevines climb the stone exterior, obscuring most of the building, except for the stone slab entrance. If you want to get that open, you're going to have to pry it open with a tinker roll and some sort of tool you got.
I do have that bear trap.
Oh, I have a crowbar.
Oh,
That would be much better.
I reach into my pack and pull out the crowbar that's been here the whole time.
I want to say Swifty is probably the most likely to.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm a hard 40.
You're right. We got a hard 40 over here, and okay. So I will give Yolanda, like, custody of Yolanda to whomever wants her.
Jane will take up that responsibility.
That feels like
Okay.
a Jane responsibility.
And like she'll just mutter to her, now listen here. If you are real nice, and you were real nice before, I can maybe, say some nice things about you when we turn you in, get you access to some reading or something. And she's just trying to like talk her into compliance.
And then I'm gonna open this thing up.
Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and use the take time thing too, so then you
Yes,
can
I
double
will.
your front.
I will do so. I'm doubling my proficiency bonus, which means I have a +2 now. So I got a +4 total on this, and that's a 19. So that feels
Hell
good.
yeah.
That feels good.
The slab moves aside, making a large grinding noise, and a stale smell spills out of the crypt. Cobwebs drape down from the ceiling, and in the darkness there are 4 stone caskets resting peacefully. On both sides of the crypt, one casket is bunked above another in a small stone recess. Moss has started to creep over the stone, nearly obscuring their engravings. Merlin holds up their electric torch to each casket and reads the following engravings. Junebug Pumpernickel, loving wife, adoring mother, philanthropist and leader. James Pumpernickel III, loving father, respected counselor. Elizabeth Warner Pumpernickel, the light in every room. Yolanda Pumpernickel, missing but never forgotten.
Oh, I don't think she's missing anymore. So who do we think the pearls are with?
I don't believe that they would be with June. She was the first to perish.
And it would
Right,
it wouldn't be with Yolanda because she would probably know who was buried in her.
Well, if
stead.
she's missing, there's might not be a body there. So
Yeah, she doesn't. I think it would probably be in Yolanda's.
That's
if
my thought.
The father was fond of her, it makes sense that he would store his treasure
That's fair.
where his true treasure was missing.
I'm gonna gesture everybody to come in out of the rain, and then I'm gonna open up Yolanda's tomb.
You crack it open, move it aside, and it is completely empty. And Yolanda says, it couldn't be in any of these. You know, my father and my sister died when the fortune was already hidden. It must be in my mother's casket.
Well,
Okay.
Crack it open.
Hmm.
And there is a skeleton of a woman in there wearing this black dress. Look inside, there's no family fortune in there.
Swift, once he opens it and observes the skeleton, Swifty's like, I'm sorry. May Washington continue to bless your sleep.
And Mrs. Parker begins to go, death. Could that mean anything else? Because the planchette board, the answer was to
it
where
was death.
the fortune was. Death.
Did you guys look in that teapot?
Yeah, I was just gonna say in the teapot or the
Oh my god. Do we have to go back, run down, and check in the arsenic container?
Also a good point. Or the well.
Could be the well.
I already fished out the stuff out of the well. There weren't pearls in there, were there? It was just
you
the
found
medical
some
supplies.
medical supplies, and then Mrs. Parker hears you say that, and she says, why would there be medical supplies down there?
That's a good question. I don't know. Yeah, I guess I want to go back and look at the well. I mean, we're outside anyways, and it's closest. Now that I kind of feel like I know. And I'm going to put on those glasses that I found to help me see better.
Yeah, so you all trudge over to the well, and again, it's pouring rain, and you can shine your light down there, and no canvas sack, but something else has floated up to the surface now. And it's hard to tell what it is.
100%. I'm pulling out my fishing rod. And
Yeah,
she's going to look at everyone else and say, I've gone fishing in strange.
And we could.
It's 30 feet down.
Merlin, are you trying to push me in the well right now?
Could Detective Tony Hawk fly down there and grab it?
Oh, of course, Tony. I forgot you were here. Tony, listen to me. I need one more task from you.
Before I release you from your commitment to me.
Before I feed you this possum. Dinner's on the line. That's all I'm saying. So I rolled a 2.
Oh no.
Tony screeches and does not seem to understand you. His feathers are wet. He's very unhappy.
I fling him and he just sort of glides and then comes back like, all right, well, that didn't do me any good. Tony's done enough for the day. He picked up a whole teapot earlier.
Okay.
I noticed that it's wet and he's kind of got that hunched angry bird look about him, and I just go about my business. I rolled a 15 to try and fish this out.
Yeah. You are an expert fisher person, and you reel it on up. It is a boot. It's the right boot.
She's gonna hold it up and go, Yolanda, are you just pushing everybody you don't like into this damn well? Are you
I
kidding
don't know
me?
where that's coming from.
I'm gonna take the boot out and hunch over it and kind of dump it out. I imagine there's a good chunk of water that comes out.
Mm-hmm. Water pours out.
Mm.
How did that? Why is there stuff down in the well?
Only one way to figure it out. I'm just gonna
The doctor. Oh my God, the doctor. Yeah, it's got to be the doctor, right? Because
I'm,
there's
like,
the medical supplies.
climbing into the well as you say this. Like, so don't go into the well.
No, I don't think you should go into the well. That seems ill-advised. Here's my question. The proximity of the cellar to the well, is it reasonable to believe that the people soup developing at the bottom of a well could cause a bad smell in the cellar?
You think that maybe between the cellar and the well is a good 20 feet,
Okay.
but it's pretty close.
Yeah. I'm gonna turn to Swifty at this point and say, I don't know the rules here. Can we have this exhumed first thing in the morning? Or is it necessary that we get to the bottom of this particularly deathy whale this evening?
I think time is probably of the essence. For an exhumation, we just need the next of kin, and then Swifty looks deadpan at Yolanda.
Yeah. Are you saying go down there?
Yes.
Is that what... Go for it. My knees aren't too good, but
Swifty is already in the process of tying a rope around Yolanda's waist. And then he hauls her
Yolanda
up.
into the well.
He hauls her and it's like, let this be the first part of your rehabilitation. And then I shove her in.
Wait, no, she still had the handcuffs on. What are we doing?
She's got a rope around her.
We'll pull her out.
Yeah, if there's a problem, we'll pull her out.
She goes down into the well, and
I can't swim. I don't have arms.
Okay. She reaches the water, and as she reaches the water, she realizes and calls up to you. It's not that deep. It's only a few feet. And she looks around and she says, "Can you shine the light down here?"
Oh, of course. My bad.
What are you doing, Merlin? And she looks and she says, "There's something strange about this brickwork. I think there is a crawl space." And she says, "Pull me up a little bit."
Okay, we'll pull her up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And you hear a creak as something swings open on hinges. And she disappears out of the bottom of the well.
We still have her tied to a rope, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm gonna look at the two my two companions and go, I'm gonna go check that cellar. And I'm just gonna take off running to try and get down through the cellar on the other side. Because I'm convinced that they are linked.
Merlin, do you want to go with Jane? And I will drop down into the well and follow Yolanda.
I very quickly chase Jane. Very quickly.
Right, with the
Oh,
hard 40, it's
ooh.
more of a lumber than...
Yeah, you get it. We've all been here.
Yeah. So I'll drop down into the well and follow Yolanda while they investigate the cellar.
So Jane and Merlin, you go into the back door of the kitchen and down into the cellar, and you smell something, and down there it stinks. And on the other side, you can hear Yolanda's voice. Oh my gosh, this is horrifying, she says, but incredible. And you can hear her on the other side of the wall.
I'm running my hands along this wall trying to find like a latch or a switch or something to open this up.
And you quickly find a brick that's a little unusual. It seems to have some give to it, but you press it and you hear a clunk. And it doesn't want to open for some reason.
Did you learn anything else about getting sticky doors open?
I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, and if you tell Swifty, I will deny it to my grave. I did not read the manual.
All right.
Make me a luck roll.
So, a luck roll? Okay.
Yeah, you've got odd or even values.
I've got, odd for me. Hell yeah, that's a 15.
And all of a sudden, a big gust, like I said, all the windows in the kitchen were cracked and etc. It blows the trap door down. And as it blows down, you hear a clink from inside the wall, like it was a mechanism. When the trap door is open, it cannot. When the trap door is open, the secret door cannot open.
That makes sense. That tracks.
And then you press the button, and the door swivels on a hinge. And inside is Swifty, Yolanda / Isabel Parker, standing over two dead bodies. There is a white man, a black woman lying on the floor in blood-stained clothing, both of them wearing dirty, durable work clothes with several easily visible stab wounds, which is horrifying. And next to their bodies are two canvas rucksacks, which are filled to the top with medical supplies. All these small packages are spilling out of them. There's a third corpse, another white man lying rigidly on the floor with his eyes wide open, his body pale, his hair is turned white, and he is as stiff as a board. And there is a cabinet on the other side, and Yolanda is walking towards the cabinet.
I feel like Jane's gonna try and because we don't know what this is, and she wants to make sure that Yolanda sees justice. She's gonna stop her and open the cabinet herself.
And before you do that, you all see these medical supplies. Why don't you go ahead and make it like a lower urban roll, or you can make a straight up deduce roll here if you want to try to figure something out. Your Wardens,
it's not gonna be great.
I got like a 7.
I got a 12.
The 4.
12 is all you need. So these are there are rumors of smugglers, squatters, etc. A common thing that smugglers in the area will steal because they can get more value out of them are medical supplies. And you think that these might be smugglers here. And you stop Yolanda from getting to the cabinet, and you look at it. There's a little lock on the cabinet door.
I just want to try and break the lock with my hatchet.
And you do. You just take your hatchet to it, you break it open, and you open the cabinet. And inside are a dozen heirlooms, necklaces, rings hanging from wooden pegs, some coin. On the bottom shelf are 5 sacks just filled with coin and folded paper. This seems to hold the Pumpernickel family fortune. Most of these necklaces are pearls, and you see the wedding ring that was on that portrait in the main foyer.
Jane will nod and then close the cabinet again and turn back to everybody. Well, We did pretty good. Except who the hell are these people? She looks down at the corpses.
Smugglers who found their way in, I guess.
Yeah, but who stabbed them?
That's a fine question, Yolanda.
Not me, she says, and she begins to move towards the cabinet again.
I give the rope a yank, and I'm like, no, those belong in a museum.
See in here. Just show me that. I want to see that ring. Is that my mother's ring? And she points at the cabinet.
Jane will nod and say, it is. Why?
Show it to me. I need to see it.
I'll pull the ring out. I'm not going to let her touch it, but I'll hold it up where she can see it.
Yeah. So make me a resolve roll here.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, don't do... Oh, shit.
That's a 16 over 10, bud.
So, Jane, you take the ring and you begin to walk toward her, and you have your hatchet in the other hand. Merlin, something sticks out to you as a seer with the inherent ward ability. You can see things that normally are not there, and you can see Jane, but it's also like you have double vision. Like there's also a woman wearing a black dress in the same location. And Jane, you begin to walk towards Yolanda, and you rear your hatchet back.
Oh, no.
Oh, I tackle her.
Okay.
Thank goodness.
Swifty is like, murdering suspects is not in the manual.
And Jane, so we'll wrap this up here. Jane, Swifty tackles you to the floor, and there is this ghost of a woman who appears before you all and points at Yolanda, and Yolanda looks at her and says, "Mom?" And then the woman fades away. And that is where we can end our adventure for tonight. I know we went a little bit longer.
Oh, no,
I'm not going to make you fight the spirit. But...
We're totally fine. We did it.
Yeah, this was so much fun. Oh no, did the internet die on that?
We not only solved the murder, we found the treasure. None of us were significantly injured. There was no banister debacles.
We were prepared.
We did a good job. I'm pretty flippin'
That's a very royal we, because I did not help.
You found a teapot.
I found
and that was
teapot.
very important. And without you, we would not have access to the great detective that is Tony the Hawk.
That's right.
The world's most powerful pigeon.
I was just gonna say, I'm so impressed that you all figured it out, because I had a little exposition I was gonna do at the beginning, but right away you're like, all right, let's do this. We're going upstairs. And I was like, you know what? Let's just see what they find. And
let's just see what happened.
Piece it together.
Well, she was going to give you more details about the history so that you could help pull the plot together, because she's like this historian who loves talking about that shit. I was just like, screw it. And I love how you all pulled those together.
It was Swifty holding up the lantern of who is this? And I was like, oh shit. And the fact that the handkerchief came back, that was
a brilliant callback. I was just
great.
Highly sus that all three of them died. We probably should have gone into the crypt first, since we should have secured that perimeter, because then we would have known that Yolanda was missing, not dead.
Can we imagine
and that would have been
where we were like, let's secure the perimeter. All right, let's jump down in the well.
Right.
You almost did. I was like, oh shit. And I was like, oh, that boot. The boot was supposed to be there. I forgot to describe it. But I was like, if they were going in the well right
you can't just put a well in front of us and not expect us to.
We're gonna look. I love that though. I love the visual, because it felt very narratively satisfying to have it all come back to this but we checked that but did you that felt very Clue-esque to me, of the bringing everything all back round while we drag this lady through the rain tied on a rope.
I just want to say the whole reason I wrote this adventure, though, was to work in the planchette board scene. I was like, oh, this could be really fun.
So good.
So that's the whole reason for it.
Yeah, so good. I love it. Like the pacing of clues felt very like good. I didn't feel like I ever had to like work extra hard to get stuff, so I could spend the time like not like looking for every little thing, trying to like piece together what was actually happening, and that was really satisfying. I really liked it. This was a ton of fun.
Well, thank you for having us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for letting us
for sure
play Backwater. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, this was great.
Yeah. Are where they can best find you, where they can pick up Backwater. I'm pretty sure we have a link
the link
somewhere
is below my head.
Awesome, on the overlay itself. But is there anything else you guys want to like promote or announce or anything like that?
Yeah, I'll go first. Backwater. I am on Twitter, so long as Twitter's still alive. For now, at least. That's at Backwater TTRPG. I'm also on Hive, but who knows where else I'll be, and I'll try to get Backwater TTRPG wherever I go. So you can follow us there. We have an itch page. We also have a drive-through RPG page if you want to check that out too. And yeah, give us a follow. We have a link to our newsletter too. If you check out our Twitter, which is a great way to stay up to date, especially when we make some announcements about some future projects coming up in the next couple of months. Yeah, and we do streams elsewhere if you're ever looking to learn a little bit more about some of our Backwater streams.
Also, it's in the description of the video. We also linked a podcast, and I can't remember which one it is. It's linked below me though.
The Role Less Taken.
It's the Role Less Taken one. Did.
Yeah.
Awesome, Alex. Do you want to add anything?
Just that I am Mightiest Finn on Twitter for as long as that exists, and I'm there. I think I'm Mightiest Finn on Hive as well. But I'm in March, which you can pre-order on our itch page, and then we have a possible new project coming out after that. But otherwise, we're just writing and playing Backwater. So
awesome. Keegan and I have some streams. We're cramming in a bunch of stuff right before the holiday. Keegan, you want to talk about those things?
Yes, we are back on the 21st. We're playing Santa Side, which is written by Tony from +1 EXP. That should be fun. And then we're back on the 22nd for Bring Me the Head of the Earthling, Sigourney Weaver by Unplaytested.
I'm so excited.
Which should be a lot of fun.
Awesome. I'm Sarah, and that's Keegan.
Cool.
And we hope you enjoy your pizza.
Bye, everyone.